Chapter 1301. This is the corpse of an innate chaotic origin life form. There is no need for me to introduce it. Everyone can have a look at it. Now, let the auction begin. The base price is 12,000 chaotic origin crystal jades. Each increment must not be lower than 1 chaotic origin crystal jade. The silver-robed old man, God Emperor Yen, looked around him. He announced with a clear voice. All other treasures in this auction could barely match the value of this corpse. This base price had startled many experts in the venue. Dongwu Shui-Ying sighed when he heard that. 12,000 chaotic origin crystal jades? According to his understanding, even a middle-stage God Emperor expert could not fork out so many chaotic origin crystal jades. It had to be a late-stage God Emperor existence. What was a late-stage God Emperor? Usually, they would be ranked in the top 100 of the God Emperor list. 13,000 chaotic origin crystal jades? A sweet-sounding voice sounded. Many experts present, including Dongwu Shui-Ying, felt their bodies turning soft when they heard this voice. This caused Dongwu Shui-Ying's expression to change slightly. And this was just speaking. If she were to truly display her techniques, he might not even be able to resist a single move. 13,500 chaotic origin crystal jades. Another old man's voice sounded. The auction for this corpse of an innate chaotic origin life form was mainly fought between 3 experts. All of them clearly had extraordinary origins. The final price was set at 19,800 chaotic origin crystal jades. This price startled many experts. But every innate chaotic origin life form was unique. If they missed it, they would miss it forever. It was normal for them to bid a shockingly high price. It's just that this innate chaotic origin life form corpse is useless to me, Dongwu Shui-Ying thought. This low-graded chaotic origin life form contained the energy of water and fire. Many of its bodies were manifestations of the laws and profound mysteries of water and fire at the chaotic origin level. To him who cultivated the Tao of Void and Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm, it was naturally not useful. After the auction ended, Dongwu Shui-Ying continued staying temporarily in the Heavens Will Pavilion. After the treasure auction ended, this Booyah God Emperor went into closed-door cultivation in the Heavens Will Pavilion. Dongwu Shui-Ying was in a tavern on the streets of River Yuan City, enjoying the delicacies and wine of this tavern. Using his tracking method, he naturally knew that the one who bought the book was Booyah God Emperor. This Booyah God Emperor has a bad reputation. According to the public reports, he has killed other God Emperors twice. God Emperor Booyah was an early God Emperor. The God Emperor he had once intercepted and killed were naturally all early-stage God Emperor. In reality, in the entire divine realm, early-stage God Emperor occupied 99% of all God Emperors. For instance, the ruler of High Mountain City, Yufeng Junshan, was also an early-stage God Emperor. At this point, the higher one went, the more difficult it would be to advance. Intercepting and killing others to snatch their treasures would naturally earn fast. If one were to bitterly search for desolate beasts in the great wilderness, firstly, without the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique, there would only be a single peak-stage God Monarch desolate beast in a huge region. It would take a very long time to travel from one region to another. Secondly, peak-stage God Monarch desolate beasts were quite strong in survivability. It was hard for early-stage God Emperor desolate beasts to kill them. They were not like Dongwu Shui-Ying, who could easily sweep through them with his Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. Bitterly killing desolate beasts would take a long time and was difficult. As for intercepting and killing other God Emperors, killing one would be a huge profit, earning what the killed God Emperor had accumulated in his entire life. There were quite a few experts in the divine realm who loved to do such things. After all, they had to fight for resources on the path of cultivation. This was a dangerous but profitable method. By paying a sufficient price, the Heavens Will Pavilion could protect the residents for 10,000 years. Dongwu Shui-Ying thought, after 10,000 years, the Heavens Will Pavilion would no longer protect them. It was normal. The Heavens Will Pavilion was scattered across almost every city in the divine realm. The strength of a city was not strong. They relied on the backing of one of the 3 great royal clans, the Heavens Will clan. Hence, No experts dared to challenge the rules set by the three great royal clans. But the Heavenswell clan would not go overboard. It was sufficient to protect them for 10,000 years. If they were to protect them for eternity, they would force some powerful god emperors to shed all pretense of cordiality. If they did, even though the three great royal clans were strong, if the chaotic origin ancestral gods did not descend, they could not do anything to some of the most terrifying existences among the god emperors. Everyone was willing to give the Heavenswell Pavilion face just by protecting them for 10,000 years. In the blink of an eye, 8,000 years had passed since the auction. South Booyah God Emperor was wrapped in a black robe. He stealthily left the Heavenswell Pavilion. He was like a black shadow moving through the shadows of the streets. This Booyah God Emperor has finally left the Heavenswell Pavilion. I still thought he would hide for 10,000 years. Not too far away from the Heavenswell Pavilion, two figures appeared in midair. Even though they could not see the escaping Booyah God Emperor, they could easily sense him. We have left a soul curse on his body. No matter where he escapes to, he can't escape from our pursuit. He has killed second brother. We will definitely make him pay with his life even if we chase him through the entire divine realm. A cold and muscular male gritted his teeth. By his side was a cold young man. We must definitely avenge second brother. Chase. These two figures followed the feeling of the soul curse and chased after Booyah. At the same time when they were chasing, a figure flew over from the Heavenswell Pavilion. He was none other than Ying. The ones chasing after Booyah God Emperor should be the Tyrant Blood Brothers, right? Ying thought. The three Tyrant Blood Brothers were good friends who could go through life and death together. Ever since their second brother was assassinated by Booyah God Emperor, the other two Tyrant Blood Brothers had been chasing relentlessly, causing Booyah God Emperor to be in a sorry state. Ying laughed as he chased after them. After a while, Ying chased after them. There's no one else? A gust of wind condensed into a figure. He stared at the direction where the Tyrant Blood Brothers and Ying had chased. According to Booyah, the Tyrant Blood Brothers and God Monarch Azure Cloud should also have God Emperor eyeing him. I've been observing for a long time. That God Monarch Azure Cloud has indeed appeared. However, I don't see the God Emperor behind him. This blurry figure was slightly puzzled. He did not believe that a God Monarch would actually dare to chase after a God Emperor. Even if he was a God Monarch who ascended, a God Monarch at the peak of the God Monarch realm, he would only be comparable to an ordinary God Monarch elementary God Emperor. He would not be able to threaten the life of the infamous Booyah God Emperor. But that was the truth. There shouldn't be anything that can escape my detection. There is indeed no other God Emperor beside God Monarch Azure Cloud. The mighty God Emperor shouldn't be hiding in a God Monarch's cultivation paradise, right? This blurry figure muttered. God Emperor had a high opinion of himself and did not think highly of God Monarchs. From God General to God Monarch was a huge leap. From God Monarch to God Emperor was also a huge leap. The Tyrant Blood Brothers are hard to deal with. Hurry up and catch up. The communication treasure received the message. The blurry figure sneered and replied, Booyah, don't worry. I'm coming. So, his body disappeared and turned into the wind. He chased after them silently. Chapter 1302. In the darkness of the night, Ying soundlessly transformed into a thin line as he advanced through the void. Boom! See, a terrifying shockwave suddenly erupted in front of him. The battle has begun. Ying soundlessly appeared on the branch of a large tree. He stood there and looked at a surging river in the distance. This surging river was 800 kilometers wide, and it meandered through the entire river source city. On the surface of this river stood a figure. Booyah God Emperor. At this moment his black robe had disappeared, revealing a body covered in scales. He was slightly hunched, and his yellow amber eyes were filled with savagery. His sharp claws were even holding onto a long spear. The strangest thing was that a layer of black light had appeared on the surface of Booyah God Emperor's scales. Booyah, go to hell. A golden light flashed, and a huge hammer smashed down. A muscular man's entire body radiated with golden light, and his aura towered to the heavens. Booyah God Emperor raised his long spear, blocking this terrifying hammer. But even so, he was still sent flying back several kilometers, causing huge waves to appear in the surrounding river. This Booyah has actually become even stronger. The muscular man's expression changed when he saw this. He was the leader of the 3 tyrant blood brothers, and he had cultivated an incomparably tyrannical strength. In the past, although Booyah God Emperor had a strong body, he did not dare to face his attacks head-on. But now, he did face his attacks head-on, and he was only pushed back several kilometers. He was not injured at all. Xiao! A strange green light pierced the retreating Booyah God Emperor's body. However, the black light around Booyah God Emperor's body was incomparably tough, and it completely blocked this attack. At this moment, the appearance of that strange green light was revealed. It was a cold-looking youth holding onto a dagger with one hand and a second dagger with the other. At this moment, the cold-looking youth revealed a look of shock. It can't be pierced? Haha, I can already control the black gold bead now, and I even used it to create the black gold indestructible body. You guys can't kill me at all. Booyah God Emperor, on the other hand, laughed loudly. In the past, he was famed for his powerful defense, but the tyrant blood brothers were too powerful. The eldest brother's incomparably tyrannical strength would always cause him to cough up blood and be injured, while the third brother's numerous assassination attempts could also injure him. He perfected his dermic formulation and even bought the black gold pearl and the 3 manuals at the treasure auction. Finally, with the power of the black gold pearl, his defense reached a new realm. He called it the black gold undying body. I can't kill you? You will die today. The tyrant blood brothers went crazy and started to use all of their trump cards. Boom boom boom, one was domineering, the other was strange. The 2 of them worked together perfectly, and Booyah God Emperor had almost no strength to fight back. However, the layer of black lights around God Emperor's body was too tough. Even if Booyah managed to pierce through the black light, he would only be left with a small amount of power. The threat it posed to Booyah was negligible. Third brother, be careful. The muscular man's face, bathed in golden light, changed. The cold-faced youth originally wanted to launch another attack, but his face suddenly changed as well. Next to him, a gust of wind began to condense, forming into a blurry figure that pounced towards the cold-faced youth. Peng! In an instant, that blurry figure struck out with his saber over 10,000 times, so densely packed that it was like a wild gale. The cold-faced youth wielded a dagger in each hand, and for a time, countless threads of azure light flashed as he blocked the frenzied saber light. Pooh! Amidst the densely packed saber light, a blood-colored light suddenly flashed. The cold-faced youth cried out in pain. Third brother. The muscular man had long since known that something was wrong. He hurriedly rushed over, striking out with all his might with his hammer. The giant hammer expanded along with the wind, rumbling as it smashed towards that blurry figure. That blurry figure immediately retreated, not daring to take the blow head-on. The eldest of the 3 tyrant blood brothers was extremely famous amongst early-stage God Emperor experts. Very few dared to take his blows head-on. At the very least, he didn't dare to. Third brother. The muscular man grabbed hold of his brother. The cold-faced youth's body trembled slightly, and his entire body was suffused with a blood-colored mist. The cold-faced youth gritted his teeth and said, I didn't think that Booyah would actually give this blood shadow venom needle to someone else. The blood shadow venom needle was a weapon created by the blood shadow cult leader, who was ranked in the top 20 of the entire deity world. The blood shadow venom on it was a one-time use item, and would be consumed the moment it entered the enemy's body. But precisely because it was a one-time use item, the power of this blood shadow venom needle was extremely great. The blood shadow cult leader would usually bestow 3 to 5 blood shadow venom needles to his subordinates. This Booyah, God Emperor, had obtained these blood shadow venom needles by chance. Second brother was struck by the venom needle, and his power was greatly reduced. He was killed by him. The cold-faced youth gritted his teeth. I didn't think that I would be struck as well. Fongo, you actually dare to help Booyah, God Emperor, to deal with us?" The muscular man roared angrily. The blurry figure's appearance was completely revealed. It was a skinny man who looked like a bag of bones. He laughed. "Brother Booyah has given me enough benefits. Since I've received benefits from others, I naturally have to act on his behalf. You brothers cannot blame me for this." Good. The muscular man's gaze swept towards Booyah, God Emperor, whose body was glowing with black light. "Booyah, God Emperor, you actually dared to give the blood shadow venom needle to Feng Go, God Emperor. Aren't you afraid that Feng Go, God Emperor, will ambush you in return?" God Emperor sneered. With his cautious nature, without absolute confidence, how would he dare to give such a terrifying assassination treasure like the blood shadow venom needle to Feng Go, God Emperor? Although the blood shadow venom needle was powerful, it could only be used when it was pierced into the body. And now he, Booyah, God Emperor, had cultivated the black gold undying body. He was confident that Feng Go, God Emperor, would not be able to pierce through his body and injure him. What was there to be afraid of? This time, Booyah, count yourself lucky. The muscular man was very unwilling. With a thought, he kept his brother into the Eden treasure. So, transforming into a stream of light, he flew far away. As for Feng Go, God Emperor, and Booyah, God Emperor, they did not chase after him. This was because they were very clear on how difficult it was to deal with the eldest of the tyrant blood brothers. He had incomparably tyrannical strength. The tyrannical strength of his body was not inferior to that of a middle-stage God Emperor. This was also the reason why Feng Go, God Emperor, had only ambushed the third brother and not the eldest brother. The tyrant blood brothers have finally left. I have always been chased by them, and I have never had peace. Booyah, God Emperor, also heaved a sigh of relief. Brother Booyah, the third brother of the tyrant blood brothers, has been poisoned by the blood shadow venom needle. He will definitely think of a way to dispel the blood shadow venom needle. However, dispelling the blood shadow venom needle isn't that easy. I'm afraid that he won't come to bother you for a long time. In fact, he might not even be able to dispel the blood shadow venom and lose his life in the end. Feng Go, God Emperor, laughed. Booyah, God Emperor, nodded. He was also looking forward to it. However, he understood that the tyrant blood brothers would definitely seek help from other experts. Although they would have to suffer a bit, they should still be able to dispel the poison in the end. The tyrant blood brothers have left. There's still a small worm left. Booyah, God Emperor, swept his gaze across. God Monarch Azure Cloud, come out? Come out. Feng Go, God Emperor, also waved his hand from afar. In the distant heaven and earth, countless gales fiercely pressed down like a mountain, suppressing the huge tree where Dongbu Shuiying was hiding. Peng! A stream of light flashed and rapidly escaped. As for the huge tree, it suddenly turned into dust. The stream of light flew to the surface of the lake and transformed into a black-robed young man. It was none other than Dongbu Shuiying. I didn't expect that I would be discovered by you guys. Dongbu Shuiying looked at Feng Go, God Emperor, in shock. He understood that it was this Feng Go, God Emperor, who had discovered him. An expert of the God Emperor level was truly not to be underestimated. Booyah, God Emperor, however, didn't put Dongbu Shuiying in his eyes at all. Instead, he surveyed the surroundings and said with a booming voice, "I wonder which God Emperor it is? Just show yourself." "What? You only know how to send your God monarchs to their deaths. Both of you, there's no other God Emperor behind me." Dongbu Shuiying said. "There's no other God Emperor?" Booyah, God Emperor, and God Emperor, Feng Go, looked at Dongbu Shuiying. They didn't believe him at all. A God monarch dared to follow them? Was he courting death? "Speak, who's behind you? Tell me, and I might even let you die a quick death." Booyah, God Emperor, had a face that was covered in wrinkled scales. His yellow amber-like eyes stared at Dongbu Shuiying, filled with killing intent. Treacherous, cunning, selfish, and ruthless. Dongbu Shuiying looked at Booyah, God Emperor. "That time during the auction, I did sincerely trade with you. But after investigating your intelligence, I felt that it's better to kill a devil like you. It's a waste to give you chaotic origin crystal jades. It's a pity that you have always been hiding in the heavens will pavilion. It isn't convenient for me to act during these 10,000 years. Since you escaped tonight, it is a good opportunity for me to deal with you. Rest assured, I do intend to kill you. Don't let your imagination run wild and think that there's another God Emperor behind me. You want to kill me? Booyah, God Emperor, felt that it was a joke. He cultivated the black gold undying body, and even the tyrant blood brothers couldn't kill him. A god monarch dared to boast here? Even an ascendant god monarch could only match up to an early stage god emperor at most. A god monarch said he wanted to kill him? That was a huge joke. Then you can just die. I want to see if there's a god emperor behind you after I kill you. Booyah, god emperor, was too lazy to use his weapon. Instead, his body turned illusory, leaving behind a trail of water on the surface of the surging river. In an instant, he appeared before Dongbo Shui-Ying and slapped out with his claws. By the side, God Emperor, Feng Ho, was looking around vigilantly. Even though they did not discover any other God Emperor, they merely thought that the other party had formidable hiding techniques. Chapter 1303. Booyah God Emperor's eyes were cold and ferocious. Although he was looking at Dongbo Shui-Ying, he was also vigilant of his surroundings. He was wary of a God Emperor suddenly appearing in the dark. Or perhaps there was a God Emperor hiding in the Eden treasure that God Lord Azure Cloud carried with him. This God Lord Azure Cloud, what kind of gaze is that? Booyah God Emperor waved his claws, wanting to smash the black-robed youth in front of him into dust. However, he discovered that this God Lord Azure Cloud, who should have been terrified, was actually calmly standing on the surface of the river. There was a hint of pity in his eyes. A look of pity looking at him? Booyah God Emperor couldn't understand. Boom! Following that, Booyah God Emperor sensed that his surroundings had changed. His surroundings had transformed into a vast and boundless world. Within this world, there were countless living beings. There were even many people that he was very familiar with, and they were all speaking to him. This world had an unbelievably attractive force that was pulling his soul in. As an expert on the same level as God Emperor, Booyah God Emperor might not be able to resist, but he understood in his heart that if he allowed himself to be dragged into this vast world, it would be the end for him. No, he was terrified. He was uneasy. He wanted to resist, but he couldn't. In this illusory world, a great killing intent descended from the heavens and earth. Formless energy constantly rushed into his soul, and his soul was sliced into pieces without being able to resist. At the moment of his death, Booyah God Emperor recalled the pitiful gaze of God Lord Azure Cloud. Even in death, I still don't know who my true opponent is. Dongbo Shui-Ying looked at Booyah God Emperor, whose aura had been towering to the heavens. In an instant his aura completely dimmed, leaving behind only the aura of his fleshly body. It wasn't just Booyah God Emperor. Even Feng Shi God Emperor, who was standing not too far away, was originally on guard. At the same time, he was coldly smiling at the scene of the black-robed youth called God Lord Azure Cloud being killed. However, a similarly terrifying illusory world enveloped him. In an instant, Dongbo Shui-Ying dealt with two God Emperor at the same time. Although the original plan was only to kill this Booyah God Emperor Feng Ho was quite famous in River Yuan City, and he was also an evil and cruel person. Naturally, he would kill him conveniently. In fact, if Feng Han God Emperor hated evil and killing, Dongbo Shui-Ying would not kill him. But if that was the case, Booyah God Emperor would not dare to ask him for help. Now, both of them had fallen into the hands of Dongbo Shui-Ying. Phew! Dongbo Shui-Ying stood on the surface of the river. With a wave of his hand, he collected the dead bodies of Booyah God Emperor and Feng Han God Emperor, as well as their treasures. River Origin City is one of the top cities in the entire God world. There are countless living beings in the city, and there are all kinds of fights and battles going on every day. I don't think many people have discovered this battle in the dark. Dongbo Shui-Ying thought. This world was different from the Realm Heart Great Land. One could not use the Destruction Realm teleportation to spy on others in this world, and neither could they spy on others from an ultra-long distance. Even the range of their domain was limited. Hence, those who wished to spectate the battle had to be closer to it. Dongwu Shui-ing felt that not many should know that he killed Buya God Emperor and Feng Han God Emperor. It doesn't matter even if I am exposed. After all, this identity of God Monarch Azure Cloud is just me disguising. Dongwu Shui-ing chuckled. With a wave of his hand, a black crack appeared in the night sky. It was unremarkable, and Dongwu Shui-ing disappeared with a flash. The big brother of the tyrant blood brothers was currently escaping towards the Heavens Will Pavilion at full speed. Third brother, suppress the blood shadow poison. Suppress it. The big brother of the tyrant blood brothers was extremely anxious. One of his incarnations was currently taking care of his third brother within the Eden treasure. The Heavens Will Pavilion is the best at gathering intelligence. They must have a way to help you dispel the poison. The expression of the tyrant blood brothers who was rushing over changed. He turned his head in disbelief. The soul curse has dissipated? Back then, we placed a soul curse on Buya God Emperor. This soul curse is branded onto his soul and is nearly impossible to dispel. The soul curse itself did not cause any harm. It was just an imprint. As long as the soul does not dissipate, the imprint will remain forever. Now that the curse has dissipated, could it be that Buya God Emperor's soul has dissipated? Is he dead? The big brother of the tyrant blood brothers was filled with disbelief. Just a moment ago, Buya God Emperor and Feng Han God Emperor had joined hands to cause the tyrant blood brothers to suffer a huge loss. Buya God Emperor had even cultivated the even stronger black gold undying body. But in the blink of an eye, he died? First, help third brother dispel the poison. After the blood shadow poison in third brother's body is suppressed, we can investigate further. We can get an expert that specializes in tracking to see if Buya God Emperor is truly dead. The big brother of the tyrant blood brothers was still in disbelief. In another city incomparably far away from River Origin City. This city was comparable to the High Mountain City. Dongwu Shui-ing was too lazy to care about the name of this city. He merely executed the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique, and the moment he came out, he coincidentally appeared within this city. Furthermore, he was coincidentally within the cultivation room of a residence. There was even a girl cultivating within. When that girl saw Dongwu Shui-ing appearing from the black crack, she was greatly startled. What a coincidence! Dongwu Shui-ing could only use a thought to wipe away the memory of the other party discovering him using the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. After that he left this residence stealthily. Within this city, on one of the streets, Shui-ing found a relatively lively wine shop by the roadside. For it to be so lively with so many customers, the food and wine here should definitely not be bad. Dongwu Shui-ing grinned as he walked into the wine shop. After finding an empty seat, he ordered a female attendant. Bring me the 9 most famous delicacies of your wine shop and 2 flasks of wine that you specialize in. The female attendant immediately went to arrange the dishes and wine. Within this wine shop, the majority of the natives of the Divine Realm were at the God General Realm. There were also some who were only at the Heavenly God Realm. The Heavenly God Realm referred to the innate deities, and was the weakest level in the Divine Realm. Newborn infants in the Divine Realm were considered at the Heavenly God Realm. When they grew up and cultivated, only a portion of them could reach the God General Realm. Only after reaching the God General Realm would they be qualified to take on the roles of soldiers and protectors. It's still alright. Dongwu Shui-ing was in a good mood. He ate the unique delicacies and wine. At the same time, his consciousness permeated into the Eden treasure and flipped through his spoils of war. He first flipped through the treasures left behind by Buya God Emperor and soon found the 3 scriptures. I've gotten the Void Devil Insect scripture. Dongwu Shui-ing chuckled. He continued looking through the other treasures. What a fellow! This Buya God Emperor is infamous. It is publicly known that he had killed 2 God Emperors. There should be others that were not publicized. Dongwu Shui-ing thought. If Buya God Emperor assassinated a God Emperor, he would most likely not publicize it. Because the more famous he was, the more experts would target him. As he inspected the corpse of Booyah God Emperor, Dongwu Shuang discovered to his shock that there was actually a black gold bead in the heart of Booyah God Emperor. Black gold bead? Dongwu Shuang was startled. This black gold bead was also an item that was auctioned in the previous auction. Its final price was 390 chaotic origin crystal jades. Booyah God Emperor bought it? What special usage does he have for the black gold bead to be placed in his heart? Dongwu Shuang chuckled. He picked up a cup of wine and drank a mouthful. Who cares? The black gold bead could be sold for a high price to him. Many treasures were being checked. Not just those belonging to Booyah God Emperor, there were also those belonging to Feng Ho God Emperor. Everything was swept through. I've earned big. Dongwu Shuang was startled. It was true that killing Booyah God Emperor was an easy way to earn. Booyah God Emperor was indeed infamous. Adding up all his treasures, including the cultivation scriptures, the total value was close to 1,200 chaotic origin crystal jades. That was terrifying. Even though Feng Ho God Emperor's methods were sinister and ruthless, because he did not have any assassination treasures like the Blood Shadow Venom Needle, his total treasures did not even reach 500 chaotic origin crystal jades. It's much easier to earn as compared to me working so hard to kill desolate beasts. Dongwu Shuang shook his head and sighed. Killing desolate beasts was easy, but searching for them was too difficult. He had never slacked off during those 1,200 years. Even with the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique, he had only found 100 or so desolate beasts. On average, he would only find a peak stage God Monarch desolate beast every 10 years. Yet he only found one every 10 years? The feeling of searching wasn't good. And how easy was it to kill Booyah God Emperor and Feng Ho God Emperor? In the blink of an eye, they were dealt with. And the treasures he earned were much more. A horse wouldn't get fat without grass at night. But Dongwu Shuang had a bottom line when doing things. For instance, Booyah God Emperor wasn't a wicked person. Dongwu Shuang would still do his best to trade with him and not kill him. As for wantonly killing devils in the divine realm, Dongwu Shuang felt that it was better for him to be more low-profile in the divine realm where 3 chaotic origin ancestral gods existed. And to him, the treasures he obtained this time were sufficient. Dongwu Shuang sat at a corner of the pub drinking by himself. He pondered, this time, I should be able to trade for other treasures. I should bring my treasures to the superpowers to exchange for cultivation scriptures. There was only a single Tao of Void Ascendant scripture for late-stage God Emperor in the entire divine realm. It would definitely not be spread out. Hence, it was impossible for a late-stage God Emperor to make an exception for him with just these few treasures. There are 2 middle-stage God Emperor cultivation scriptures, and they are circulating outside. Perhaps I might be able to trade for one of them? If I'm lucky, I might be able to trade for 2? Dongwu Shuang looked forward to it. Chapter 1304. There are 2 problems with exchanging items for treasures. Middle-stage God Emperor scriptures are the core inheritance of a huge sect. They will not be easily divulged. The first problem is that I have to pay a sufficient price for them to be willing to make an exception. After eliminating the Cloth Crow God Emperor and Wind Gloom God Emperor, I should have sufficient treasures. Dongwu Shuang thought. Treasures worth more than 1,000 chaotic origin crystal jades should be sufficient to purchase 2 middle-stage God Emperor scriptures. The second problem is that the moment I decide to trade, even a fool would be able to guess that I have sufficient treasures. Dongwu Shuang muttered inwardly, things like killing others and snatching their treasures might happen. If he were the famous God Emperor, the other party might not act against him easily. Killing a God Monarch and snatching his treasures? That was too tempting. I will use treasures to exchange for treasures. I will do my best to obtain them and leave immediately. If there are experts eyeing on me, I can only blame them for being unlucky. Dongwu Shuang thought. There were indeed quite a few terrifying existences in this divine realm that he could not deal with. But those existences disdained to snatch his treasures. Let's do it this way then. Dongwu Shuang made his decision as he enjoyed the delicacies in this roadside pub. The next morning, a male garbed in a white robe carried a divine sword on his back. He arrived at one of the apex cities in the divine realm, Yunshi City. There was a huge palace floating in midair, Yunshi Palace. There were only two types of ascendant Tao of void middle stage Tao of God Emperor scriptures. Even though they were circulated outside, those who collected the original copies were all huge sects in the divine realm. Dongbo Shui-ing had previously collected intelligence on these scriptures. Naturally, he knew where these scriptures were located. After filtering, Dongbo Shui-ing's first destination was the Yunshi Palace. Yunshi City, Yunshi Palace. She was famous across the entire divine realm. Even though Yunshi Palace Master was merely at the middle stage God Emperor realm, Yunshi Palace Master was rumored to be one of the wives of the chaotic origin ancestral god behind the three great royal clans, the Golden Sacred Clan. With such an identity, Palace Master Yunshi's status was naturally extraordinary. I heard that Palace Master Yunshi doesn't like killing. No one dares to kill me and steal my treasures in her palace. As for leaving the palace? Shui-ing thought. I'll be able to slip away quickly. Swoosh. Dongbo Shui-ing flew to the main entrance of Yunshi Palace, and the group of female guards in front of Yunshi Palace immediately looked at Dongbo Shui-ing. Dongbo Shui-ing immediately stopped and bowed. I am Lord Qing Feng, an ascender who cultivates the Tao of Void. The path of cultivation is difficult, so I came to Yunshi Palace to offer you 3 black mist flowers. All I ask is for you to have a look at the cultivation manual of the ascender, heaven and earth. Offering you black mist flowers? These female guards hesitated for a moment before one of them said, You, this god monarch, please wait here for a moment. I will go and report. Even though they were exchanging items for items, they could not say it so directly. Experts wanted their face too. You are God Monarch Qing Feng? After the time taken to brew a cup of tea, an old granny walked out. The aura she emitted was at the early stage God Emperor realm. After all, this was the famous Yunshi Palace in the divine realm. Even though the palace master was slightly weaker, there were quite a few experts. There were more than 100 experts at the level of God Emperor realm in this palace. Dongbo Shui-ing acknowledged. He positioned himself as an ascender who devoutly sought the Tao. Follow me. The old granny turned around and walked in. Dongbo Shui-ing felt a surge of joy in his heart. He immediately followed her into the palace. You must not wander around in Yunshi Palace. Remember, you must always follow me. The old granny swept a glance at Dongbo Shui-ing. Yes, yes. Dongbo Shui-ing obediently replied. I've heard that you are offering 3 azure mist flowers just to have a look at the ascender scripture heaven and earth? The old granny continued. Us ascenders do not have any chaotic origin ancestral god bloodlines. It is hard for us to cultivate. Even though I have always wanted to obtain the scripture of the predecessors, I do not have any treasures and my strength is weak. Fortunately, I have discovered 3 azure mist flowers in the great wilderness. That was why I dared to come here to seek the Tao. Dongbo Shui-ing said. The old granny nodded slightly when she heard that. Even though you ascenders have great comprehension abilities, there are very few who could become God Emperor without the bloodline of an ancestral god. You offering 3 azure mist flowers shows your sincerity. Previously, my Vice Palace Master has also agreed to this matter. If you could obtain the scripture, your chances of becoming a God Emperor might be higher. Many thanks for Vice Palace Master's pity. Dongbo Shui-ing said. The 3 Vice Palace Masters of Cloudy Sunlight Palace were all women. Hearsay had heard that they were arranged by that chaotic origin ancestral god to protect Cloudy Sunlight Palace Master. Most matters were decided by the Vice Palace Masters. The 2 of them chatted as they walked. Their speed was incredibly fast. Soon, they arrived before a pavilion. Emissary Ying, Vice Palace Master has instructed us. This is the scripture. A guard immediately came out from within the pavilion. He passed a scripture to this old granny. The old granny turned around after receiving the scripture. She did not pass it over. Instead, she looked at Dongbo Shui-ing. Dongbo Shui-ing immediately understood. He flipped his hand and brought out a long stone box. Opening the stone box, there were 3 flowers flashing with faint blue light. He then closed the box and passed it to this old granny. "These are azure mist flowers." Only then did the old granny receive the box. She threw the scripture to Dongbo Shuang. "Hurry up and read it here. Pass it to me after you are done." "That is natural." Dongbo Shuang immediately flipped through the scripture. He permeated his consciousness into it. With his powerful soul, he soon memorized all the contents of this scripture. The first time he read it, Dongbo Shuang was inwardly startled. It was indeed a middle-stage scripture of God Emperor. In terms of attainments in the Tao of Void, the creator of this cultivation technique had indeed surpassed him. Heaven and Earth was a unique Tao of Void scripture. Its core was to cultivate one's body into a world. The fleshy body was a world. Naturally, every action of the cultivator would be filled with unparalleled power. Dongbo Shuang had a thought after reading it. According to the path of this cultivation technique, theoretically speaking, the cultivator's fleshy body could be like an origin world. Naturally, the current limit of this cultivation technique was at the middle stage of God Emperor. That was already very powerful. Like the chaotic origin refinement body cultivation technique he created in the realm Heart Great Land, it could only reach the strength of an early stage God Emperor. Furthermore, it was not stable. Naturally, he had only cultivated for a short period. Given enough time, his cultivation technique should be able to surpass the other party. It's just that this world had caused many of his comprehensions to be conflicted. Learning these scriptures would allow him to grow faster. "I've succeeded." Dongbo Shuang was delighted. After learning the scripture, Dongbo Shuang naturally bade farewell and left the cloudy sunlight palace. He disappeared? A figure flew out of the cloudy sunlight palace. It was a gray-robed girl. She coldly swept her gaze across the surroundings. He sure escaped fast. Offering 3 nightmare mist flowers just for a chance to browse through the scripture. The higher-ups of Cloudy Sunlight Palace naturally knew about it. Some were tempted. After all, killing a god monarch was too easy. They did not dare to be unbridled within the Cloudy Sunlight Palace. But the moment Dongbo Shuang left, they immediately chased after him. It's a pity that Dongbo Shuang had already left stealthily using the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique. This time, Cloudy Sunlight Palace was the most relaxed. Following that, Dongbo Shuang changed his identity. He disguised himself as a blade cultivator and went to another dermic barbaric city. Who would have thought that the moment he entered the city master residence, God Emperor would act? The other party directly assassinated him. Left with no choice, Dongbo Shuang could only casually kill the other party. At the same time he killed the other party, he immediately used the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique to leave. After that, he could only disguise himself and go to Rainwind City. This time, even though he was intercepted, that was because he had already learned the scripture. The moment he left the city master residence, before he could find a secluded place to execute the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique, the enemy had already acted. This time, it was actually 2 early-stage God Emperor working together to ambush him. Dongbo Shuang could only casually deal with the other party. He then immediately used the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique to escape. High Mountain City, within the closed-door cultivation room of Dongbo Shuang, a violet-robed male suddenly appeared here. He was none other than Dongbo Shuang, who had changed his appearance. "After going through so much trouble, I've only gone to the Cloudy Sunlight Palace once. The other 2 times I've acted. Including that time at River Origin City, I've killed a total of 5 early-stage God Emperor experts." Dongbo Shuang shook his head. He did not show any mercy. After all, even though he did not understand the intelligence of the other 3, they had taken the initiative to kill him. Naturally, Dongbo Shuang would not show any mercy. Chapter 1305. However, I've learned all the scriptures. Dongbo Shuang revealed a smile. He had already obtained the original copy of the Void Devil Insect scripture. As for the other 2 middle-stage God Emperor scriptures, Heaven and Earth and Realmless, he had also learned them. In this world, The culmination of the wisdom of the Tao of Void Ascendance over a long period of time was a late-stage God-Emperor scripture and 2 middle-stage God-Emperor scriptures. The God-Emperor late-stage scripture had never been passed down to outsiders, so he couldn't learn it. As for the middle-stage God-Emperor scripture, it was only because it was circulated in the outside world that he was able to learn it by exchanging items. Absorbing the wisdom of other experts for my own use. Dongbo Shui Ying sat cross-legged and began to carefully comprehend. An expert should learn from others. Learn from heaven and earth. Learn from all things. Learn from others. Absorb the insights of others, integrate them into oneself, and open up one's own path. These 3 scriptures were all very impressive. Even the early-stage God-Emperor Void Devil Insect scripture was impressive. After all, it was a stable cultivation technique. The Void Devil Insect scripture specialized in flight techniques. When flying, one would be like a devil insect. Although it couldn't travel through the void, its speed far surpassed other early-stage God-Emperor scriptures. Even middle-stage God-Emperor scriptures couldn't catch up to it. However, this cultivation technique was good at escaping, but it was slightly weaker in battle. As for the 2 middle-stage God-Emperor Heaven and Earth and Realmless, they were even more impressive. These 2 were both cultivation techniques of the body. Heaven and Earth was to cultivate the entire body into a huge heaven and earth. The muscles were like boundless and thick land, the bones were like mountain ranges, and the blood was like a surging void river. In the void river, there were even celestial bodies floating, surging along with the river. This world was incomparably vast. There were celestial bodies, stars, space, and land. A body that contained many worlds that were perfectly fused together. When cultivating this cultivation technique to the later stages, one would be forced to reveal their powerful true body in battle. Even in the divine world, the true body revealed would be 10,000 li wide. It was much bigger than many God-Emperor natives of the divine world. The body was huge, and the strength was boundless. His every move was incomparably tyrannical. As an ascendant, even if he was in the middle stage of the God-Emperor, his battle prowess was comparable to that of the late stage of the God-Emperor. Although Unbounded was also a body refinement technique, it was completely different from Heaven and Earth. Heaven and Earth was a perfect integration of all kinds of world structures into one's physical body. As for the Realmless, there was only one word: emptiness. Every tiny particle in the body was like a vast space. The entire body was like a large space wrapping around a small space, and a large space wrapping around a large space. Layer by layer, the body of an expert who cultivated this technique was a perfect whole formed by countless layers of space. Those who cultivated this technique would also be very strange in battle. Even if they were suppressed by the divine world, they would still be able to grow to the size of 1,000,000 miles. They were small, but they were like ants. God-Emperor was a late-stage expert. If he were to land a full-powered strike on Qin Mu's body, the countless layers of space within his body would be able to easily absorb the incoming force. He stood there and allowed the enemy to attack him, but the enemy couldn't hurt him at all. Even the top 30 terrifying existences in the world could only injure him but not kill him. In terms of life-saving ability, Unbounded was above Heaven and Earth. And Heaven and Earth was relatively balanced. Be it survival or direct combat, it was comparable to the late-stage God-Emperor. The creator of this technique had spent a lot of effort on this Tao path. Dongbo Shui Ying was clear that he might be able to learn it, but to continue creating it? How could he compare with the creator who had painstakingly created it step by step? These 2 techniques have flaws. The ambition of Heaven and Earth is too huge. It requires the body to be the world. It involves too many worlds, and all sorts of operations are too complex. Dongbo Shui Ying shook his head. Even when God-Emperor was at the middle stage, I find it unfathomably complex. To reach the late stage, grand perfection, or even chaotic origin lifeform. Just thinking about it makes me feel that this path is too difficult. Of course, every expert had a different understanding of the Tao. He, Dongbo Shui Ying, felt that this path was a dead end. But others felt that it was the most promising path. Unbounded is too extreme. It pursues the ultimate survival ability. Dongbo Shui Ying thought. These three great scriptures had their merits. Dongbo Shui Ying was also comprehending them wholeheartedly. His avatars in the distant realm Heart Great Land and his hometown Primal Chaos Void were also comprehending them. Comprehending them and absorbing the laws and profound mysteries. Fusing them into his chaotic origin refinement body. Gradually, Dongbo Shui Ying's chaotic origin refinement body recovered to the early stage God Emperor strength. Furthermore, his originally unstable body refinement technique had gradually changed. He had also absorbed the inclusiveness of Unbounded and the operation of heaven and earth. His chaotic origin refinement body was also gradually stabilizing. Furthermore, because he had reached the early stage God Emperor in the different profound mysteries of the Tao of Void in the realm Heart Great Land and in this world, his foundation had become much more profound. In the blink of an eye, it had been more than 8 million years since Dongbo Shui Ying came to this world. Amidst the vast clouds, a huge ship was flying at high speed. On the ship, many protectors emitting the aura of God monarchs were scattered to the left and right. Boo! A muscular figure walked out from a cabin. He was wearing a thick black robe. He walked to the bow of the ship. Behind him were 5 other figures. These 5 were either male or female. All of them were emitting the aura of the early stage God Emperor. We should be arriving at High Mountain City soon, this muscular old man said. According to our current speed, we should be arriving in another 5 days. A green-robed girl behind him said after sensing for a while. 5 more days? The muscular old man watched from afar. The edge of his lips curled upwards. Yufeng Junshan, your good days are just 5 days away. Big brother, ever since you broke through, this Macaw's clan has been sending caravans to other cities. Even though they are called caravans, in reality, they are bringing along a large number of Macaw's clan disciples. Many of the Imperial Wind Clan's disciples were scattered in various cities. There were too many cities that were scattered. Those disciples are not too famous. It is hard to find them. A white-robed male said, "What can we do?" The muscular old man indifferently said, "This is an open and above-board method. Many disciples of the Macaw's clan are scattered across many cities. Furthermore, all of them are keeping a low profile. It is impossible to find them and it isn't worth it. Search? Most would rely on tracing techniques. Firstly, one would have to form a karmic connection with the other party. It was too difficult to form a karmic connection with those ordinary disciples of the Macaw's clan. It was so subtle that it was hard to discover. After all, it was impossible to find them. In the future, we just have to keep an eye on them. The moment we discover anyone rising up in the name of the Macaw's clan, we can just eliminate them." The muscular male said, "As long as they don't rise up, we don't have to care about those weak little disciples." Yes, we don't have to care about them. The Macaw's clan is just a small superpower in the entire divine realm. It is simply a dream for another God Emperor to appear. All of them were disdainful. How difficult was it for a new God Emperor to appear? Even if one were to appear, the master of the Demon Heart Society could easily eliminate them. After eliminating Yufeng Junshan and his precious children, as well as the core experts of the Macaw's clan, wiping out the entire Macaw's clan within High Mountain City, this enmity will be temporarily resolved. I am still very benevolent. The muscular male chuckled. His smile was slightly savage. This Yufeng Junshan is quite courageous. He has always remained within the city and did not try to escape. He can't escape even if he wanted to. We are keeping an eye on him, and he has nowhere to run. The reason why he chose to remain in High Mountain City is most likely because he wants to rely on the geographical advantage to fight against us. Fighting against our Demon Heart Society? What a joke. The entire High Mountain City should not be able to hold on for more than the time taken to brew a cup of tea under our attack. The other 5 God Emperors sneered. Given how the master of the Demon Heart Society was currently ranked on the God Emperor list, he only had 5 initial stage God Emperor experts under him. This was because he had just broken through not too long ago. Given the strength of the master of the Demon Heart Society, It was normal for him to have more than 10 God Emperor experts under him. Even though the strength of High Mountain City is ordinary, the few of you should still be careful. The other party is about to fight to the death. Not only must we kill them, we must also minimize our losses. The master of the Demon Heart Society swept his gaze across these 5 subordinates. Yes, big brother. These 5 God Emperor acknowledged. The master of the Demon Heart Society nodded before entering the cabin. Chapter 1306. Snowflakes were sparkling and translucent. They floated down in the world. Donghua Shui-ing and Nobike's Kiyoshi were currently drinking wine together. They were listening to the zither music by the side. Not far away from them, there was a beautiful girl concentrating on playing the zither. The melodious sound of the zither permeated the entire garden. Donghua Shui-ing was enjoying it quite a lot. When the zither music stopped, that female zither player stopped too. She smiled at Donghua Shui-ing and Nobike's Kiyoshi. I hope for God Monarch Fei Shue and Third Lady to comment on it. This female zither player chuckled. Every time I listen to Sister Lung play the zither, it feels just like a dream. It is truly beautiful. Nobike's Kiyoshi immediately praised. Her eyes were brightening. Donghua Shui-ing had a grin on his face. Even though he was quite fond of music, he had never cared about it. Ever since his disciple Nobike's Kiyoshi strongly recommended this #1 zither player in High Mountain City, Leng Xen, he nodded his head at that time and agreed to let this female zither player play at his residence. Even though Donghua Shui-ing had always been concealing his strength, he had still defeated Bat Mountain Master with what he revealed on the surface. This Leng Xen female zither player was naturally doing her best to perform. At the start, Donghua Shui-ing only felt that it was stunning. But after listening to it several times at his residence, Donghua Shui-ing gradually figured out that this zither music was somewhat similar to his Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. There was a Tao of Bewilderment in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm, and this Tao of Bewilderment could be executed by relying on sound. She is indeed the #1 zither player in High Mountain City. For her to become the #1 zither player and have such a huge reputation, her attainments in the Tao of music should have reached an extremely high level. Her ancestral god bloodline is also specialized in this Tao. Even though her usage of sound is still crude, the feeling of freedom that comes from her heart is something I cannot compare to. Donghua Shui-ing thought. He had comprehended 2 great killing techniques in his Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. One would cause the enemy to fall into oblivion, and the other would destroy the soul of the enemy. These 2 techniques were comprehended by Donghua Shui-ing from the gray eyes and golden eyes, but he was unable to perfectly combine them. But after listening to the music, he knew his problem. I've always known that the innate desire of any soul is freedom. That is the path of the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. Donghua Shui-ing sighed. I've seen the thousand-eyed water droplet once, and I've been trying my best to recall it. I've been trying my best to fuse the 2 killer moves, but in fact, it's too deliberate. I clearly know that freedom is the essence of the soul, and this is the core of the fusion of the 2 killer moves. Donghua Shui-ing sighed as well. That was how cultivation worked. Even if someone told him the method, he wouldn't be able to comprehend the essence of the method without suffering enough. After understanding this point, his avatars in the Realm Heart Great Land and his hometown Primal Chaos Void immediately went into closed-door cultivation. Donghua Shui-ing had a premonition that he would be able to fuse the 2 great killing techniques using the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm together after sufficient time. This was because this zither music had touched upon his cultivation of the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. That was why Donghua Shui-ing would frequently invite this female zither master over. God Monarch Fei Shue hasn't commented on it yet. The female zither master looked at Donghua Shui-ing. Lady Lung's zither music is unrestrained and unrestrained. It makes the hearts of others resonate with it. Donghua Shui-ing hesitated for a moment before continuing, but Lady Lung should collect more cultivation techniques related to the Tao of sound and comprehend it. Perhaps it might be helpful to you. Donghua Shui-ing did not mention it previously because he was worried that he would lose his original sense of freedom if he deliberately delved into the Tao of sound. But from the perspective of cultivation, it would be beneficial for one to suffer some hardships. Sound? The female zither master felt puzzled. Music is music, and sound is sound. Comprehend it. It might be helpful to you. Dongbo Shui-ing answered. Many thanks for God Monarch's guidance. Even though the female zither master felt puzzled, she still decided to listen to the guidance of this ascendant God Monarch. She would search for some cultivation scriptures related to sound and ponder over them. In the past, she purely cultivated her bloodline energy. Music was a natural manifestation of her bloodline energy. It was her innate talent. Dongbo Shui-ing nodded. Even though he was accompanying his disciple and talking to this female zither master, Dongbo Shui-ing would frequently think about the laws and profound mysteries in his mind. Reaching his realm, multitasking was as simple as eating and drinking. Those two seniors could create the middle stage God Emperor heaven and earth and realmless. As for my chaotic origin refinement body, I still have many problems to solve before I can reach the middle stage God Emperor. Dongbo Shui-ing pondered. Currently, his chaotic origin refinement body was completely stable at the early stage God Emperor. He had even created several versions of his body, allowing him to barely reach the middle stage God Emperor strength. But none of them were stable. But cultivating under different civilizations is indeed helpful. Dongbo Shui-ing understood the intention of Yuan at this moment. Different civilizations. The law suppression in the realm Heart Great Land was entirely different from this world. He had to adapt to the laws of different civilizations. This process of adaptation would also allow his Tao to become more perfect. Only those who could traverse through all worlds would be eternal. Only then would they be qualified to jump out of the cage and become a chaotic origin life form. God Monarch Feishu, hurry over to my residence. A transmission came. Dongbo Shui-ing, who was still pondering over his chaotic origin refinement body, became startled. It's a transmission from City Master Yufeng Junshan? Father? Nobike's Kiyoshi was startled too. She had also received a transmission. Kiyoshi, the City Master has summoned you? Dongbo Shui-ing chuckled when he saw the expression on his disciple's face. Nobike's Kiyoshi nodded. Then let's go together, Dongbo Shui-ing said. He then turned to the female zither player Leng Exen by the side. Lady Leng, Kiyoshi and I still have some matters to attend to. You should return first. The female zither player Leng Exen immediately left. Dongbo Shui-ing also brought Nobike's Kiyoshi to the City Master residence. The City Master residence was also where the Makaz clan was located. It occupied a huge area within the main palace. At this moment, a large group of experts had already gathered. There were disciples from the Makaz clan, and there were also experts like Bat Mountain Master, God Monarch Jin Yin, and Dongbo Shui-ing. The majority here were at least middle-stage God Monarchs, including middle-stage God Monarchs. It was rare to see someone as weak as Nobike's Kiyoshi. It was only because she was the daughter of the City Master that she was qualified to be here. Brother Feishu, why do you think the City Master has suddenly summoned so many people? Almost all experts within the city have been gathered. Bat Mountain Master walked over. His triangular head was indeed ugly, though his expression was filled with passion. Who knows? Dongbo Shui-ing did not care about it. He stayed in the high mountain city primarily to cultivate. It has been a long time since the high mountain city has gathered so many experts. I feel that something is amiss, Bat Mountain Master said. It was not just him. Many other experts present felt flustered. Everyone could vaguely guess the reason for gathering so suddenly without mentioning it. He's here. The City Master is here. The palace hall quietened down. The gray-haired middle-aged man who had experienced the vicissitudes of life, Yufeng Junshan, came out from the side door of the palace hall. Housekeeper Tong followed by his side. This Yufeng Junshan had revived the Makaz clan. He could cultivate to the God Emperor realm and even established his own power. He was indeed a formidable character. It's just that currently, Yufeng Junshan's expression was solemn. He walked over to the throne and stood. He did not sit down. Instead, he looked downwards and said, I know that everyone is guessing why I have suddenly summoned everyone. Everyone below turned towards Yufeng Junshan. There is a powerful enemy currently rushing towards my high mountain city. Yufeng Junshan looked downwards. He should be arriving in an hour. What? Powerful enemy? An hour? At that moment, the entire palace hall turned chaotic. This news came too suddenly. City Master, what powerful enemy? Why is he attacking my high mountain city? A commotion broke out below. Yufeng Junshan frowned slightly. He snorted softly, causing the palace hall to quieten down. The enemy is very powerful. Furthermore, he has a huge enmity with my Macaw's clan that cannot be resolved. Yufeng Junshan looked downwards and coldly chuckled. I know what everyone is thinking. I have a grudge with the Macaw's clan. It isn't like I have a grudge with you all. Am I right? The expressions of many experts below changed slightly. I, Yufeng Junshan, have been treating everyone well ever since I controlled the high mountain city. Now that we are facing danger, I hope that everyone can contribute a part of your strength. Yufeng Junshan said. Even though he said please, everyone present could feel the tyrannical willpower coming from Yufeng Junshan. Clearly, everyone present had to agree to it. Otherwise, the entire Macaw's clan residence would be controlled by the Macaw's clan. The Macaw's clan was originally powerful, and they controlled the arrays. How would they dare to resist? The few of us will naturally do our best. City Master, the few of us have received the grace of the Macaw's clan. We will naturally not retreat now. At that moment, many experts took the initiative to speak. Those who could survive until now were not fools. They knew that it was impossible for them to leave even if they wanted to. Yufeng Junshan nodded. You can be rest assured. When the time comes, I will personally deal with the most dangerous enemy. There are also many experts from my Macaw's clan who will deal with them. Furthermore, all of you have the support of the entire array. The enemy that you will face will not be too strong. Everyone present could only choose to believe him. They had no other choice. Donghua Shuiying listened quietly in the crowd. Strong enemy? For Yufeng Junshan to force all the experts in the city, it seemed like the enemy was a huge threat. Nobike's Kiyoshi, who was standing beside him, hesitated for a moment. Then, she secretly sent a message to Donghua Shuiying. Master, the enemy is very strong. The Macaw's clan will not be able to hold them off. Master, later on, stay far away and keep a low profile. Once you find an opportunity, quickly escape. There is no need to die with the Macaw's clan. Nobike's Kiyoshi and the others had already received strict orders not to spread the news to the outside world. We will not be able to hold them off? Donghua Shuiying was shocked. He turned to look at his disciple. Nobike's Kiyoshi nodded at him and sent a message at the same time. Master, this is a calamity for the Macaw's clan. It is Kiyoshi's honor to be able to meet Master before the calamity. However, this calamity is too dangerous. Master, please do not get involved too deeply. It is useless. The enemy is too strong. They are much stronger than the Macaw's clan. Donghua Shuiying could feel his disciple's eagerness and concern for him. Is Kiyoshi and the others ready to die in battle? This silly disciple. Donghua Shuiying looked at Nobike's Kiyoshi and smiled. He then sent a message to her. Don't worry. Master will never do anything that he is not confident of. When Nobike's Kiyoshi heard this, she was relieved. However, she was also slightly disappointed that her master did not care about her disciple's life or death. I wrote too slowly today. I am ashamed, so I only updated once. Chapter 1307. There was a slight commotion in the hall. Yufeng Junshan sat on the throne. His expression was cold and his eyes were filled with cold intent. He chose to stay behind because he was prepared to die in battle. The Imperial Wind clan had prospered for a long period. There were many clansmen too. Some of them were younger or weaker. Imperial Wind High Mountain felt that they were worth nurturing. Hence, he had sent them to many cities over the past 8 million years. He even strictly ordered the clansmen to stay in hiding and not to walk around in the name of the Macaw's clan. My Macaw's clan has so many clansmen, but how many of them does your Demon Heart Society know? Even if you can find most of them. But how many experts were there in the Devil Heart cult that could track him down? You want to search city by city? My Macaw's clan did not care about the price to install arrays and use the terrain to fight against you. You want to destroy my Macaw's clan? Let's see how many experts you have to sacrifice. Yufeng Junshan's killing intent was rising. He only wanted to kill as many enemies as possible before he died. Bat Mountain Master and God Monarch Jian Yin walked over to Dongbua Shuiying. The three of them were the cultivation masters of the Macaw's clan. Brother Fei Shue, Brother Jian Yin. Bat Mountain Master transmitted, City Lord asked us to stay here in the Macaw's clan residence. It seems like you have abandoned the outer city from the start. We need to defend the inner city with all our strength. The enemy is definitely terrifying to be able to force the Macaw's clan to abandon the outer city and defend the inner city. Bat Mountain Master's words make sense. Brother Fei Shue, what do you think? God Monarch Jian Yin looked at Dongbua Shuiying. Let's wait and see. Dongbua Shuiying did not say anything else. Bat Mountain Master and God Monarch Jian Yin couldn't help but feel suspicious. They wanted to form an alliance with God Monarch Fei Shue. The three of them were at the top of the peak stage God Monarchs. If the three of them worked together, they would be able to deal with God Emperor. However, Dongbua Shuiying's attitude was not very positive. Dongbua Shuiying gazed at the outside world through the entrance of the hall. The entire high mountain city spanned just a few 100,000 kilometers. It was considered the outer city. The Macaw's clan's mansion occupied tens of thousands of square kilometers. The core formation was set up in the Macaw's clan's mansion, which was the inner city. The hall was in an uproar. Time slowly passed. They're finally here. Yufeng Junshan suddenly stood up. He didn't even bother to hide his murderous aura. His aura was monstrous. Then, he turned into a stream of light and rushed out of the hall. Second brother, third sister, take care of yourselves. The eldest son, Minamoto no Raiki, glanced at his siblings and rushed out of the hall. Housekeeper Tong also rushed out. A group of figures flew out one after another. More than half the peak stage God Monarch experts of the Macaw's clan had left the hall. They formed their combat formations with great familiarity. As for experts like Dongbua Shuiying, they were not that proactive. They simply walked to the entrance of the hall and looked at the distant sky. It's here. A battleship? Everyone could see a huge ship floating in the distant horizon. Underneath, an enormous city-protecting array appeared over the entire high mountain city. It was like a barrier protecting the entire city. Suddenly, a huge hand extended out from that battleship. This hand was several kilometers long. It rumbled as it smashed against the light barrier protecting the entire city. The light barrier distorted slightly before being broken apart. That huge ship did not seem to slow down at all. It simply flew into the high mountain city through the hole created by the light barrier. So easily? The group of experts from High Mountain City gathered in the hall changed their expressions when they saw this. Even though the city master has given up on the outer city and did not use his full strength to defend against the enemy, the city protecting array was destroyed with a single palm. The strength of the enemy is too frightening. It should be impossible for an early-stage God Emperor to achieve this. Unless, many experts had many thoughts appearing in their minds. It was tough for God Emperor to break through every minor realm. 99% of the God Emperors in the entire Divine Realm were at the early-stage God Emperor realm. It was too difficult to reach the middle-stage God Emperor realm. Most middle-stage God Emperor experts were qualified to be ranked on the God Emperor list. There were only a total of 1,000 experts on the God Emperor list. One could see how rare it was to reach the middle-stage God Emperor realm. The huge ship arrived. With a single palm, it destroyed the city-protecting array of the outer city and entered the city. Many natives of the Divine Realm living in the city looked up. They were so frightened that some even hid in their houses to prevent themselves from being affected by the shockwaves from the battle. Hurry up and hide. All of you, enter the underground meditation room. The entire city was in a state of chaos. And that huge ship did not care about the ordinary natives of the Divine Realm. Instead, it took a breath of time to arrive above the residence of the Macaws clan. Yufeng Junshan. A voice reverberated in the world. It was filled with endless killing intent. The entire high mountain city became silent at that moment. A muscular old man wearing a thick black robe walked out of the ship. He stood in midair. Behind him were 5 god emperors. This muscular old man looked at the residents of the Macaws clan before coldly chuckling. Yufeng Junshan, your death date has arrived. The entire Macaws clan will be uprooted by me today. Devil Heart. Yufeng Junshan also stood above the residence. The entire clan residence was augmented by many arrays. At this moment, his body was covered in layers of light. He was even more dazzling than that master of the Demon Heart Society. Yufeng Junshan furiously roared out, "You want to exterminate my Macaws clan? Let's see how many of the experts you brought today can survive." "You are overestimating yourself too much," the muscular old man announced. "I am Devil Heart. As long as the experts in the high mountain city who aren't from the Macaws clan don't become enemies with me, I will not make things difficult for them. Today, the Macaws clan will be exterminated. Don't be so foolish as to accompany them in death." The muscular old man waved his hand, moved. At that moment, the 5 god emperors and a large number of god monarchs on the ship flew out. They formed many huge combat formations in an extremely orderly manner. They began attacking the residents of the Macaws clan. The muscular old man, master of the Demon Heart Society, was also acting alone. He was also attacking. Block them. Yufeng Junshan took the initiative to welcome the master of the Demon Heart Society. But the entire Macaws clan residence was protected by arrays. Furthermore, because the area was slightly smaller, and the Macaws clan did not care about the price to construct new arrays over the past few million years. The arrays of this Macaws clan residence were sufficiently powerful. See La Yufeng Junshan would occasionally pass through the arrays of the residents to launch sneak attacks. After that, he would immediately hide back into the arrays. He was controlling the core of the arrays of the residents. Naturally, he could enter and exit the arrays as he pleased. And the master of the Demon Heart Society could not enter before he broke through the arrays. Hong Long Long, the 5 god emperors led 300 god monarchs into a combat formation. Its power was even stronger than their leader, master of the Demon Heart Society. Even when the master of the Demon Heart Society acted alone, he had close to half the power of his subordinates. Everyone, prepare for battle. Minamoto no Reiki swept his gaze across Bat Mountain Master, Donghua Shuang, God Monarch Jin Yin, and a large number of experts. My Macaws clan has never mistreated everyone. Now is the time for everyone to serve us. I hope that none of you will betray us at the crucial moment. The moment you betray us, the power of the array will no longer support you. Instead, it will suppress you. The experts of my Macaws clan will form a combat formation. With the help of the array, killing the traitors will be an easy task. This is a matter of life and death for my Macaws clan. We will not tolerate any traitors. Many experts felt apprehensive in their hearts. Now, listen to my arrangements. Minamoto no Reiki immediately made the arrangements. He split these non-Macaws clan experts into combat formations. Every combat formation had a Macaws clan expert. This way, even if all the other experts in a combat formation betrayed them, because there would be a Macaws clan expert in the middle, they would not be able to form a perfect combat formation. We can only delay for now. Let's deal with them for now. The expressions of Bat Mountain Master and the others were ugly. Yet they did not dare to rebel. They knew about the God Emperor ranking list. Naturally, they knew how terrifying the master of the Demon Heart Society who was ranked there was. Did they not see how the other party could easily send out 5 God Emperor and 300 God Monarchs? Even if all the experts in High Mountain City were added up, there should be more than 300 God Monarchs. But some did not come today. For instance, the experts from the Heaven's Will Pavilion or the team from the mysterious Fire Army. Quite a few of them did not listen to the orders of the Macaws clan. Hong hong hong, booming sounds could be heard coming from above. Yufeng Junshan and other experts from the Macaw's clan would occasionally penetrate through the membrane wall of the array to conduct sneak attacks. Even if they were sneak attacks, the Demon Heart Society still held an absolute advantage. Nevertheless, the entire array was still trembling. Not good. Standing by the entrance of the palace hall, Imperial Wen-jin and Nobike's Kiyoshi looked at the ground. Many places on the ground of the clan residence had started cracking. Clearly, the attacks of the enemies were too powerful, causing some of the arrays to shatter. One had to know that the light barrier was actually formed by stacking several dozens of arrays. As some of the arrays started shattering, the power of the light barrier would become weaker. Little sister. Imperial Wen-jin looked at his little sister. Big brother is useless. He can't protect you. It's nothing much. Nobike's Kiyoshi revealed a grin. Let us stay here and watch father and big brother fight together. Emin, Imperial Wen-jin nodded. They were too weak. It was meaningless for them to participate in the battle. Furthermore, knowing that they would definitely lose this time, the two of them were not willing to hide. Instead, they chose to watch the experts from their clansmen fight together. Hong, following which, many parts of the entire residence started to crack. Quite a number of formations could no longer hold on and shattered. The already dim light barrier in the sky finally rumbled as a huge hole was blasted in it by the 5 God Emperors' battle formation. It broke. Bat Mountain Master and the other experts were panicking. They did not wish to die together with the Macaw's clan. It's here. Nobike's Kiyoshi was nervous. Little sister, watch. Watch father and the rest fight. Second brother Imperial Wen-jin gritted his teeth as he watched. Kill them all. Exterminate the entire Macaw's clan, don't leave a single one alive. The voice of the Demon Heart Society master resounded throughout the world. The 5 God Emperor and 300 God Monarchs acknowledged the order. Chapter 1308. Each of the 5 God Emperors led 20 godly monarchs. This was the Demon Heart Society's greatest advantage in attacking the Macaw's clan. The Macaw's clan only had 1 God Emperor early stage Yufeng Junshan. Other than the leader, the Demon Heart Society had a total of 5 God Emperor early stage. When they brought a group of godly monarchs to form a battle formation, they were simply invincible. Even if the Macaw's clan had the help of a formation, the difference between a godly monarch and a God Emperor was too obvious. This was a huge qualitative change. Not everyone could be like an ascender and fight against those of a higher rank. Let's first deal with Yufeng Junshan's children. His eldest son Minamoto no Reiki is quite strong. Currently, there is also a group of experts forming a battle formation. I'll go deal with him. As for his other pair of children, the one called Yufeng Jin and Nobike's Kiyoshi, I'll deal with them. I'll deal with them quickly. So. The 5 teams moved separately. There were a total of 200 godly monarchs left. These 200 godly monarchs were already prepared and immediately formed a battle formation to attack below. If the Demon Heart Society and Macaw's clan were to unite, they could still rely on the formation to hold on. But once they split up, the Demon Heart Society's experts' advantage was displayed. The teams led by the 5 God Emperor were simply the sharpest fangs. Face the enemy. One of the Macaw's clan's elders roared. The Macaw's clan's experts roared. All of them carried the thought of fighting to the death. They were incomparably crazy. What? Dealing with us right from the start? Imperial Wen-jin and Imperial Wen-qing raised their heads and saw a cold and gloomy man leading a total of 20 God monarchs. They were in a battle formation as they swooped down towards the two of them. The gloomy man was staring at the 2 siblings. Clearly, his target was the 2 of them. I wanted to see more of our Macaw's clan killing our enemies. Who would have thought that the moment we arrived, the God Emperor would be the one leading a battle formation against us? Yufeng Jin glanced at his younger sister. Let's go first. Nobike's Kiyoshi faced death calmly. She turned her head and looked around. There were too many people she was familiar with. Her father, her 2 brothers, some of her sisters in the clan, and her master. Nobike's Kiyoshi looked at Dongbo Shui-ing and transmitted his voice to him. Master, protect yourself. Dongbo Shui-ing couldn't help but chuckle when he saw how the young lady was behaving. Nobike's Kiyoshi was stunned. Smile? Master was smiling? Yufeng Junshan, ha, they must be your children. The gloomy man took the initiative to shout. In the distance, Imperial Wind High Mountain was currently being furiously attacked by Devil Heart Cultist Master. Even by relying on the strength of the array, he was still at a complete disadvantage. He was barely holding on. Imperial Wind High Mountain also noticed his child standing by the entrance of the palace hall. He could not help but feel his heart aching. Jin, Ichingin, the two of you should leave first. In a while, father will come over. But following that, Imperial Wind High Mountain became stunned. Because Dongbo Shui-ing, who was also standing at the entrance of the hall, was arranged to be a part of the battle formation. However, he didn't care about the battle formation. Instead, he raised his head and looked at the team led by the God Emperor. Dongbo Shui-ing took a step forward and stepped on the void. When he took a step in the void, he created a terrifying void storm and it charged forward like a wave. It directly affected the gloomy man and the 20 Sir Gods under him who were charging over with fierce power. Although they had formed a battle formation, Dongbo Shui-ing had comprehended the laws of profound mysteries. How exquisite were his techniques! Moreover, the Scarlet Cloud battle technique back then already had a way to break battle formations. Now, it was even more complete and powerful. Be careful. The gloomy man's expression changed slightly. Although he was shocked, he was still very confident in the battle formation that he and the 20 god monarchs under him had formed. However, when the void wave struck their battle formation, the power was too strong. They were originally diving down at high speed, but they couldn't help but stop from the shockwave. Moreover, at the moment of collision, a strange wave ignored the defense of the enemy's battle formation and directly penetrated the bodies of the God Emperor and the 20 god monarchs. Pun! 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 The gloomy man felt a strange energy erupting in his body. But being the God Emperor, he cultivated the bloodline energy. Naturally, he could suppress it. But the other 20 god monarchs were forced back. Quite a few of them spurted out blood as they flew backwards. Some of the heavier ones even had more than half their bodies explode. What? The gloomy man was stunned. His subordinates were all heavily injured and sent flying? Only he, the God Emperor, was not sent flying? Just a single step. At the same time when Dongbo Shui-ing took a step, he no longer concealed his aura. The powerful aura of a chaotic origin refinement body surged into the sky. If not because he had to help his disciple, if he could continue living a peaceful life, he would likely be more willing to live a low-profile life in seclusion. Dongbo Shui-ing took another step, yet his figure became blurred. Everyone present, including the master of the Demon Heart Society, could not see the figure of Dongbo Shui-ing clearly. Even if it was slowed down by 1,000,000 times, Dongbo Shui-ing's figure was still blurred. Because he was executing the movement technique from the Void Devil Insect scripture. With his current realm, he had naturally learned this movement technique. His blurred figure was frighteningly fast. In an instant he had arrived in front of this gloomy man. Who is he? The gloomy man felt an intense uneasiness. This white-robed young man in front of him made him feel an intense fear. But being an expert at the level of God Emperor, he was confident of himself. With a twist of his body, he transformed into a densely packed thousand-legged black-armored insect. The thousand-legged insect's body was about 100 meters long. It slithered towards Dongbo Shui-ing. Its bloody mouth was filled with mucus as it swallowed towards Dongbo Shui-ing. This swallow was a terrifying suction force acting on Dongbo Shui-ing's body. Pooh! A long spear appeared in Dongbo Shui-ing's right hand. The spear was pitch black and looked ordinary. In fact, it was the Golden Flame Divine Spear. However, Dongbo Shui-ing had disguised it slightly. With the spear in hand, first was a stab. The thousand-legged insect's body wriggled. Although its bloody mouth was about to swallow Dongbo Shui-ing, it suddenly swung its tail. A large number of claws flew towards Dongwu Ying. The tip of the spear clashed with one of the claws. Trying to fight me head-on? The thousand-legged insect sneered in its heart. Its black carapace was the strongest. It was extremely difficult to break through. Buzz. The stab. Boundless waves surged into its body. Furthermore, these waves surged within its body and split into 3 waves. Furthermore, these waves converged and became even more terrifying. The thousand-legged insect's body started to contort. It wanted to suppress the terrifying waves within its body. However, with a loud boom, its body instantly exploded into 3 pieces. Large amounts of flesh and scales flew everywhere. No. The 3 pieces of the thousand-legged insect's body rapidly merged together. However, it was obvious that its body had shrunk a lot. It didn't dare to transform back into its human form. After all, a human body was much weaker, and it would be harder for it to escape. Poof! Another stab. Dongwu Ying's spear was extremely fast. This stab landed on the thousand-legged insect's body. Although the thousand-legged insect tried to escape, how could it be faster than Dongwu Ying? Dongwu Ying's blurry figure followed the thousand-legged insect like a shadow. With another stab, the thousand-legged insect's body twisted and shattered. This time, the shattering was even more severe. Destroy! Dongwu Ying stabbed again. This time, a huge void bubble appeared. The void bubble enveloped the thousand-legged insect's flesh and blood. Following that, it rapidly collapsed into a black dot and exploded at the tip of the spear. The thousand-legged insect was destroyed. Only some items remained. The entire battlefield was completely silent. The 4 teams led by God Emperor, the Demon Heart Society Master who completely suppressed Yufeng Junshan, Bat Mountain Master and the other experts who didn't wish to be buried along with him, were all stunned. Although it seemed slow, everything happened too quickly. Dongwu Ying took a step forward and sent the enemy god monarch flying. His powerful aura erupted. With another step, he unleashed 3 consecutive spears. A God Emperor initial stage expert was completely annihilated. This is my master? Nobike's Kiyoshi, who was standing beside her brother, stared blankly. Her mind was in chaos. Chapter 1309. Because there were many desolate beasts in the great wilderness, Nobike's Kiyoshi had practically been living within the high mountain city ever since she was born. Being the daughter of the city master, she was absolutely a proud daughter of heaven. Nobody dared to plot against her within the high mountain city. Growing up in such an environment, she did not show any arrogance. Instead, she had a kind heart. After all, she had lived for a long period. It was almost impossible for her to encounter the dark side, yet she could siege the dark side within the city. She understood everything. Her clan was facing an unprecedented calamity. Her father and big brother who had shielded her from the wind and rain in the past were now panicking. She was willing to sacrifice herself. It's just that Easternwood City did not place a girl in their eyes. They were not willing to participate in this matter. She, Nobike's Kiyoshi, could do nothing. She could only watch as the calamity befell her clan. What she could do was to walk towards death together with her elder brother. The array was shattering. The terrifying enemy, master of Demon Heart Society, was bringing his subordinates over. Death was approaching her like never before. But at this moment, teacher? Nobike's Kiyoshi looked at him in a daze. She felt herself floating. She felt dizzy. Oh my God. This is God Monarch Feishue? This is madness. The spectators were all stunned. What? That muscular old man master of Demon Heart Society, who could still suppress Yufeng Junshan under the heavy influence of the array, felt his heart tightening when Dongwu Ying took a step and sent a group of god monarchs flying. Following that, Piercing Wind God Emperor was killed in just 3 spear strikes. How could he be so formidable? That carapace of Piercing Wind God Emperor is incredibly strong. Even I had to use dozens of moves before I could kill him. This white-robed man was killed in just 3 moves? The leader of the Demon Heart Society was shocked. However, he could tell that although the white-clothed man's aura was strong, it was only at the early-stage God-Emperor realm. Moreover, when Dongbu Shui Ying's spear struck the millipede's body, the millipede's carapace didn't break. Instead, its insides exploded. The carapace is useless. The white-clothed man's attack directly penetrated Seratwind God-Emperor's body. Also, the void wave formed by his step was able to send all the divine lords flying. Clearly, the defense of a battle formation is useless. The master of the Demon Heart Society was astonished. This kind of utilization of power was truly impressive. Big brother, this white-robed man should be the Sir God Feishue recorded in the intelligence. He is an ascender, but he should clearly have the strength of a middle-stage divine monarch. Middle divine lord? He was clearly at the early stage of God Emperor. Moreover, he's an ascender. The master of the Demon Heart Society understood. An ascender who reached the early stage of God Emperor could absolutely fight against a middle-stage God Emperor. Furthermore, ascenders were able to utilize their techniques in a mystical manner. They were unlike the natives of the divine realm who only knew how to use their bloodline power. The master of the Demon Heart Society was startled. Naturally, he would slow down in dealing with Yufeng Junshan. Yufeng Junshan was similarly concerned about the fate of his children. What? God Monarch Feishue? Yufeng Junshan was startled. The enemy, Seratwind God Emperor, who was comparable to him, was actually killed in 3 moves, so the strongest expert within the high mountain city isn't me. Instead, it is God Monarch Feishue. No, it should be Feishue God Emperor. At this moment, Yufeng Junshan was filled with wild joy in his heart. He could kill an early-stage God Emperor in 3 moves. This was a thick thigh. Hugging onto it. They had to hug onto this thick thigh. By then, the fate of their Makaz clan could be changed. Various parties had different thoughts, but all of them were shocked by the strength of Dongbu Shuiying. Dongbu Shuiying did not stop after killing a God Emperor. He turned his gaze towards one of the 4 God Emperors under the master of the Demon Heart Society. That was an ugly gray-robed male who was shrouded in a grayish-white aura. He was originally leading 20 God Monarchs in a combat formation to kill the experts of the Makaz clan. After seeing Dongbu Shuiying, this gray-robed male could not help but turn over. So, Dongbu Shuiying's figure moved. He once again executed the Void Devil Insect Body technique. His figure became blurred, yet his speed was incredibly fast. He charged towards that gray-robed male. Not good. The expression of that gray-robed male changed. He did not hesitate to retreat. Everyone retreat. When the master of the Demon Heart Society saw this, he became anxious. He shouted and transmitted his voice, Feishue God Emperor, if you have the guts, fight with me. As he spoke, he wanted to save his subordinates. After all, he only had a total of 5 God Emperors under him. One of them had already been killed. If he were to continue killing, even if he managed to destroy the Makaz clan, how many God Emperors would be able to survive? Furthermore, this Ascender God Emperor, although he was only an early-stage God Emperor, his techniques were strange and unfathomable. Against an ordinary early-stage God Emperor, it was as easy as chopping vegetables. Trying to escape? Yufeng Junshan was doing his best to delay. He even controlled the formation to suppress the master of the Demon Heart Society. How can he be so fast? The gray-robed male who was fleeing had an ugly expression. The blurred figure behind him seemed to be closing in on him in a blink of an eye. It was too fast. Who? Shuiying coldly looked at the escaping gray-robed male. Just as he was prepared to act, the grayish-white aura surrounding the gray-robed male in front of him suddenly expanded. Without a sound, his body took the initiative to scatter, turning into a dense grayish-white aura that escaped in all directions. This was one of the 5 God Emperors under the command of the master of the Demon Heart Society, that's Ghost Flame God Emperor. He was the one with the heaviest killing intent and the most evil. Right now, he was so frightened by Dongbu Shuiying that he turned into a ghost flame body and attempted to flee. Destroy! Dongbu Shuiying raised his spear with both hands and furiously slashed. Boom! Under the furious slash, the space in front of him was suddenly flattened. This is Ghost Flame God Emperor, who was fleeing in all directions after turning into a gray-white ghost flame, felt the surrounding space rapidly transforming. It was rapidly being flattened, turning from an ordinary space into a two-dimensional space. It was like a piece of paper. Under the suppression, the original heights of the ghost flame was being suppressed and was about to be erased. Ghost Flame God Emperor was doing his best to struggle. He had a feeling that if he was completely flattened into a piece of paper, he would be dead for sure. That's right. The current realm of Dongbo Shui Ying naturally far surpassed that of his teacher, Southern Cloud King. This spectacular painting was far stronger than before. Furthermore, this move of Dongbo Shui Ying wasn't used to trap the enemy. Instead, it was used to kill the enemy. Naturally, he was merciless. He wanted to suppress and kill the enemy. Hong hong hong. Countless ghost flames were struggling. They were constantly being erased and consumed. Finally, the crazily flattened space finally dissipated. Ghost Flame God Emperor still had quite a lot of ghost flames remaining. He felt joyous in his heart and wanted to escape. But at the same time, when the flattened space collapsed, a terrifying spear smashed in front of him. Hong! The entire space in front of him was like a piece of tofu. It exploded from the pressure. The remnant ghost flames of Ghost Flame God Emperor within this space were directly extinguished along with this terrifying explosion. Not even dregs were left behind. This move was known as Arch Destruction. Spectacular painting, Arch Destruction. These were the moves that Southern Cloud King was famous for. Dongbo Shui Ying had improved on this foundation, allowing these two techniques to be perfectly fused together. One technique suppressed the enemy within a space, and the other directly caused the entire space to shatter. The power of these two techniques was even greater when they were fused together. It was mainly because Dongbo Shui Ying saw the body of this God Emperor turning into gray-white ghost flame. That was why he felt that these two techniques of this minor domain were most suitable for him. Another one died. Heaven! Hurry up and escape! The other three God Emperor subordinates under the Master of Demon Heart Society were truly frightened. The crucial point was that Dongbo Shui Ying killed one who had the strongest physical defense, and the other who turned his body into ghost flame. One died in 3 moves and the other died in 2 moves. The remaining 3 God Emperor asked themselves if they could survive more than 3 moves against this Feishui God Emperor. How could such an expert appear in this high mountain city? Hurry up and escape. These 3 God Emperor fled in different directions. Damn! A furious roar could be heard. The Master of Demon Heart Society took the initiative to rush towards Dongbo Shui Ying. He had finally escaped from Yufeng Junshan, yet Dongbo Shui Ying killed the Ghost Flame God Emperor too quickly. He could not make it in time. Feishui God Emperor, if you are daring, fight with me. The hair of the Master of Demon Heart Society danced in the wind. He seemed to have gone mad, and his power was overflowing. Dongbo Shui Ying looked at the 3 God Emperor who had escaped far away. He then turned to the Master of Demon Heart Society. He held onto his spear with a single hand, saying, "As you wish." Chapter 1310. His voice was still reverberating. Dongbo Shui Ying's figure had already turned blurry. He once again executed the Void Devil Insect Body technique and flew up into the sky. Wielding his spear, he charged towards that Demon Heart Society Master. Good timing. The Demon Heart Society Master had long been suppressing his anger. At this moment, his killing intent was soaring. He extended both palms, causing endless frost to envelop Dongbo Shui Ying. Even space was being frozen inch by inch. A layer of frost had condensed on the surface of the Demon Heart Society Master's body. This frost energy was much more tyrannical than Bat Mountain Master's. Even before Dongbo Shui Ying touched it, he felt that something was amiss. He felt that he must not be frozen. He immediately spun the spear in his hand. Hua hua hua. The spear had spun, forming many maelstrom. Layers of revolving space spread out in all directions, blocking against that frightening frost energy. This was much more formidable than the survival technique that Dongbo Shui Ying created in the past, the the Myriad Realms movement technique. Dongbo Shui Ying had absorbed some profound mysteries from Realmless, adding his current realm. That was how he created this spear technique. That frost energy had been weakened by layers. When it reached where Dongbo Shui Ying was, even though it was still powerful, it was negligible to Dongbo Shui Ying, who specialized in voidification with his chaotic origin refined body. What? The expression of the Demon Heart Society master changed. This Fei Shui God Emperor could actually resist against the frost energy and appear before him. South, the incoming Dongbo Shui Ying abruptly pierced out with the revolving spear in his hand towards the Demon Heart Society master. The Demon Heart Society master only felt the void distorting. He had a feeling that this spear could not be dodged at all. I feel disdain from dodging. Die for me. The master of the Demon Heart Society's pair of fists erupted with destructive power. His fists were even dark red in color. With a loud bang, he punched forward. When he punched out, his fists rapidly enlarged. His two fists were like two small mountains as they rumbled and crushed toward the spearhead. Dongbo Shui Ying was already clear that this master of the Demon Heart Society had an amazing fleshy body. Previously, when he broke apart the protective array of the high mountain city, he had used a single hand to expand to several kilometers long before shattering it. But Dongbo Shui Ying had been wanting to find an opponent to test out his technique ever since he cultivated in the high mountain city. Boom! The spear stabbed into the fists that were like two mountains. Dongbo Shui Ying's face changed. He could feel a powerful force coursing through the spear into his body. Even though he had tried his best to weaken it with his void form, the force was still relentless. Like a volcano, Dongbo Shui Ying was sent flying back a few hundred meters before he came to a stop. His expression was slightly ugly. Opening his mouth, he spat out a mouthful of blood. This fleshy body of mine is at the early stage of the God Emperor realm. By relying on the profoundness of techniques, I can unleash an even greater power. I can also use my killing moves against the weaknesses of my enemies. I can easily kill those at the same level. But against a middle-stage God Emperor, even if his techniques are slightly foolish, his power is sufficiently strong. I will still suffer some losses if I fight him head-on. Dongbo Shui Ying thought. And the master of the Demon Heart Society, who stood unmoving in midair, was similarly not having a good time. That spear of Dongbo Shui Ying was a killing move he used against Piercing Wind God Emperor. It disregarded all defenses and directly transmitted into the body of the master of the Demon Heart Society. The turbulent ripple engulfed the body of the master of the Demon Heart Society, becoming bigger and bigger. Furthermore, it converged to the limit before erupting. For example, Piercing Wind God Emperor's thousand-legged worm body exploded from the inside. The master of the Demon Heart Society's fleshy body was stronger, both inside and outside. The explosion from the inside caused the master of the Demon Heart Society to feel a sweet taste in his throat. He forcefully swallowed a mouthful of blood. My frost body protection actually didn't block him at all. The master of the Demon Heart Society thought. The layer of frost on the surface of his body was his strongest defensive move. But against Dongbo Shui Ying, this move was completely useless. At this moment, he could feel how bizarre and ruthless the moves of the Ascender God Emperor were. Again, the master of the Demon Heart Society roared as he charged forward. Again, Dongbo Shui Ying charged forward as well. This time, Dongbo Shui Ying would not foolishly clash head-on. He executed the Void Devil Insect Body technique. His figure became blurred as he strangely revolved around the master of the Demon Heart Society. He relied on the advantage of his body technique to attack again and again. All sorts of Tao of Void techniques were executed consecutively. He was searching for the most effective killing move against this master of the Demon Heart Society. And the master of the Demon Heart Society was also frantically fighting back. This time, he had already lost two great God Emperor subordinates. No matter what, he could not give up so easily. Hong Hong Hong, the master of the Demon Heart Society, was incomparably violent. The surrounding cold aura was spreading in all directions. Nevertheless, the attacks he unleashed from his hands, feet, and other parts of his body contained a terrifying blazing energy. Die. The master of the Demon Heart Society was completely mad. He had even transformed into a towering giant that was 5 kilometers tall. He even slapped both his palms against the ant-like Dongbu Ying. This time, one palm was covered in frost and the other in blazing flames. When both palms clapped together, it produced an enormous sound that shook the entire high mountain city. The master of the Demon Heart Society was also anxious. Even though his power was increased by 50%, his speed and nimbleness were clearly affected. For the sake of victory, the master of the Demon Heart Society was thinking of all possible methods. Watching the Demon Heart Society master, who was 5 kilometers tall, fighting against Dongbu Ying, the master of the Demon Heart Society had already flown out of the Macaws clan's residence. Because he was within the array, he was constantly being suppressed by the energy of the array. Many experts within the Macaws clan's residence felt their hearts trembling. He is indeed someone who could be ranked in the God Emperor ranking list. Yufeng Junshan felt his heart trembling. If not for Fei Xue God Emperor, even if I have the help of the array, I would still die under the suppression of an old thief in Devil Heart. An old thief. This is Brother Fei Xue? Bat Mountain Master felt nervous. My Bat Mountain has actually sent an expert to assassinate Brother Fei Xue? He felt a wave of lingering fear. Fortunately, he challenged God Monarch Fei Xue on the battle platform within the Macaws clan's residence. Only the victor was decided, and no lives were lost. Fortunately, he apologized to the other party. That damn Tai Ching Lu. At this moment, Bat Mountain Master could not help but curse the dead Tai Ching Lu in his heart. Teacher Fei Xue? Imperial Wind Jin looked up before turning to his little sister by his side. And there were some experts within High Mountain City who did not participate in the battle, like Xing Luzhu from Heaven's Will Pavilion and God Monarch Chuanqing from the Mysterious Fire Army. They were also watching the battle from afar, watching the battle between the towering giant and Fei Xue God Emperor above the Macaws clan's residence. Brother Fei Xue is actually so powerful. He isn't a God Monarch, but God Emperor. God Monarch Chuanqing watched with a sigh. He is indeed an ascendant God Emperor. Even though the leader of the Demon Heart Society is using his full strength, Brother Fei Xue isn't at a disadvantage at all. And Xing Luzhu from Heaven's Will Pavilion was watching from afar. He held onto a book with one hand. This book was naturally recording the battle scenes and large amounts of words. Heaven's Will Pavilion had collected intelligence from various places and even created the God Emperor ranking list. The master of the Demon Heart Society was an expert on the God Emperor ranking list. Such a battle was naturally important, because it involved a change in the ranking of the God Emperor ranking list. Who would have thought that there would be a day where I, a person from a remote city like the High Mountain City, would be responsible for recording a battle that involves a change in the ranking of the God Emperor ranking list? Xing Luzhu was slightly nervous. As he recorded the battle scenes, he also wrote down his views. The Fei Xue God Emperor's movement technique is amazing. He is much faster than the master of the Demon Heart Society. He has completely grasped the initiative, and many of his techniques are formidable and profound. Nonetheless, he can't deal against the master of the Demon Heart Society. Even though the master of the Demon Heart Society is using his full strength and is incredibly powerful, he can't hit the Fei Xue God Emperor at all. Under Devil Heart Cultist Master's subordinates, the 3 surviving God Emperors had already escaped to the sky. They flew up to the big ship and stood on it to observe the battle below. Almost. The 3 of them looked at each other. They were filled with lingering fear. They did not dare to participate in the battle because the combat formation was clearly useless against this Fei Xue God Emperor. The offensive techniques of the Fei Xue God Emperor could disregard defenses and directly permeate into their bodies. They did not dare to have a taste of it. Various parties held their breaths as they watched the battle. And the master of the Demon Heart Society was already feeling slightly anxious. Ho! The towering master of the Demon Heart Society opened his mouth, spitting out a sphere of ice and fire. The expression of Dongbu Ying changed slightly. He immediately retreated. At the same time, he lightly tapped out with his spear. An unseen ripple clashed against that sphere of ice and fire. With a boom, a terrifying explosion occurred. It's useless. Everything is useless. Even if I transform my body to its pinnacle state, even though I can execute stronger techniques, I can't touch him at all. The master of the Demon Heart Society was incomparably furious. He originally felt that this Feisue God Emperor was too slippery. After becoming bigger, he felt even more uneasy. He felt sullen and uneasy. Dongbo Shueing also muttered in his heart, "It seems like it is still impossible for an early-stage God Emperor to defeat a middle-stage God Emperor expert." That's right. No one in the entire deity world could do it. Of course, it would be a different story if he used his Mirage and Illusory Realm technique. But that would no longer be his Tao of Void Strength. Furthermore, there were many experts here. The master of the Demon Heart Society was also very powerful. Even if his strength was greatly affected by his Illusory Realm technique, he would not directly fall into oblivion. As long as he maintained his consciousness, he would be able to spread the news of his Mirage and Illusory Realm technique to the outside world. Looking at the Broken Teeth Mountain range, the moment he used his Mirage and Illusory Realm technique, it caused the entire Broken Teeth Mountain range to tremble. In this world, if his soul technique was exposed, it would be hard for him to live a peaceful life. Furthermore, there were many experts in this world. He did not wish to expose his Mirage and Illusory Realm technique for now. South, the body of the master of the Demon Heart Society rapidly shrunk. In the blink of an eye, he regained his original appearance. He swept his gaze across to the distant Yufeng Junshan and coldly roared, "Yufeng Junshan, you are really lucky. This time, there is an Ascendant God Emperor who is willing to help you. But I do want to see if this Ascendant God Emperor will stay and protect your high mountain city forever." Yufeng Junshan felt his heart trembling at that moment. That's right. How could an Ascendant God Emperor, an expert like him, stay forever in this desolate little city like the high mountain city? There is also the Feisue God Emperor. The master of the Demon Heart Society turned to Dongbo Shueing and sneered, "Very good. I can't do anything to you. Demon Heart, will remember this enmity." Laughing angrily, the master of the Demon Heart Society turned around and was about to leave. "You want to leave?" Dongbo Shueing instead said, "Are you afraid so soon?" Afraid? The master of the Demon Heart Society was furious. He turned to Dongbo Shueing. It was clear that he was the stronger one in this battle. It was just that this ascendant was too slippery. But following that, the expression of the master of the Demon Heart Society changed. Because the aura of Dongbo Shueing was rising. Previously, it was clear that the God Emperor was at the early stage. But at this moment, one could see the arms of Dongbo Shueing becoming thicker. Furthermore, many layers of black membrane appeared on the surface of his arms. His aura had also become violent and unstable. Dongbo Shueing, who had a pair of thick arms, appeared tall and sturdy. His aura was violent and powerful. Unless he isn't using his full strength previously? The master of the Demon Heart Society felt his heart trembling. Chapter 1311. Dongbo Shueing nodded inwardly when he felt the explosive power in his arms. Because his chaotic origin refinement body had already reached the early stage Emperor realm, early stage God Emperor, in the realm Heart Great Land. It was just that it was not stable. After coming to this world, with Dongbo Shueing's talent and the comprehension of scriptures written by experts in this world, it was relatively easy for him to push his strength back to the early stage God Emperor realm. Furthermore, he had stabilized his strength. Furthermore, because he had cultivated his strength back in a different civilization, his understanding of the Tao had deepened. He had many ideas on how to reach the middle stage God Emperor realm. He had even pondered over several versions of his chaotic origin refinement body, allowing him to barely reach the middle stage God Emperor realm. It's just that it was not stable. His path was different from the creators of Realmless and Heaven and Earth. The scriptures written by other experts were merely supplementary to him. It was too difficult for him to create his own path to the middle stage God-Emperor realm. After all, he was not like those with chaotic origin ancestral god bloodlines who could continuously improve as long as they dug out the potential of their bloodline. He had to rely on himself to improve step by step. Such an incomparably sturdy foundation allowed ascendants to fight against those of a higher level in this world. Even though it is unstable and my body is constantly being consumed, my body is constantly recovering. But my body is constantly recovering. With my chaotic origin refinement body, I should be able to last for an hour. Dongbu Shui-Ying thought. According to this consumption rate, even if he did not battle, he would only be left with 30% of his life force after an hour. This was also the limit of his life. Under the conflict of the laws of this world, he had never succeeded in cultivating teleportation or avatar technique. Without the avatar technique, he naturally had to do his best to protect the only avatar he had in this world. An hour is sufficient. Dongbu Shui-Ying's aura surged. He wielded the black spear with a single hand and took a step towards the master of the Demon Heart Society. His aura has greatly increased. It is much stronger than before. Unless he has reached the middle stage God-Emperor realm? The master of the Demon Heart Society felt very uneasy. He is an ascender. If he really has the strength of a mid-stage God-Emperor, then he should be able to match a late-stage God-Emperor. He might even be able to kill me. Oh no, he's here. The corner of the Demon Heart Society's master's eyes twitched. Dongbu Shui-Ying's blurry figure was charging towards him at an extremely fast speed. You must be using some kind of forbidden technique. You won't be able to hold on for long. The master of the Demon Heart Society roared as he observed Dongbu Shui-Ying's expression. At the same time, he raised his hands to block Dongbu Shui-Ying's spear. The leader of the Demon Heart Society extended her palms, and in front of her was a strange layer of ice, a layer of fire. There were 3 layers of ice and 3 layers of fire. This was the first time the master of the Demon Heart Society went all out against Dongbu Shui-Ying. Previously, it was the master of the Demon Heart Society who went all out against Dongbu Shui-Ying. The master of the Demon Heart Society no longer dared to go all out against Dongbu Shui-Ying. He was afraid that with this spear he would be heavily injured. 2 or 3 spears and he would die. If he was really a mid-stage ascender, it was completely possible for a mid-stage God-Emperor realm God-Emperor to do this. Hence, he went all out to defend. Pooh! The spear pierced through the outermost layer of fire. A terrifying shockwave rapidly penetrated through the 6 layers of obstruction, penetrated through the ice protection on the body of the master of the Demon Heart Society, and entered the body of the Demon Heart Society's master. However, the strength of the spear was reduced by 20%. This all-out defensive move of the master of the Demon Heart Society was still quite impressive. The master of the Demon Heart Society widened his eyes. He felt a shockwave that was 3 times stronger than before surging violently in his body. Finally, it converged and exploded. Previously, he was able to endure it, but after becoming 3 times stronger, the master of the Demon Heart Society couldn't endure it anymore. He opened his mouth, and blood spurted out, along with pieces of his internal organs. His skin started to crack. He looked at Dongbu Shui-Ying with fear. It was really a mid-stage God-Emperor realm. How can this be? Go! The master of the Demon Heart Society had a feeling that with such an attack, 3 spears wouldn't be able to take his life. However, 10 spears would be enough. In a life-and-death battle like this, what did 10 spears count for? Under the threat of death, the master of the Demon Heart Society didn't hesitate to turn around and flee. So, the frost energy revolved around him. He was even suppressing the speed of Shui-Ying who was behind him. The surface of Devil Heart Cultist Master's body had turned crimson. He was like a meteor that was madly flying towards that huge ship high up in the sky. There were 3 God Emperors and a group of God Monarchs on that ship. He believed that they should be able to delay this Feishue God Emperor for some time. Do you think you can escape? Dongbu Shui-Ying took a step. His figure became blurred. Even though his chaotic origin refinement body mainly relied on his arms, It only increased his strength. It was negligible in terms of speed. However, when he executed the Void Devil Insect movement technique and broke through the influence of the cold air, his speed was still faster than Devil Heart Cultist Master. What? This. Hurry up and flee. Split up and flee. The 3 God Emperors and a large group of God Monarchs who were originally on the ship were watching the battle. They thought that they had failed this time. Their leader couldn't deal with that Feishue God Emperor, and that Feishue God Emperor couldn't deal with their leader too. The leader would return to the ship and leave together with them. But the moment this Feishue God Emperor erupted with his strength, he could heavily injure the master of the Demon Heart Society in a single move. Clearly, the strength of both parties was on a completely different level. The gap was clear. Even though it wasn't as clean as how Dongbo Shui-Ying killed the early-stage God Emperor previously, Dongbo Shui-Ying should be able to kill their leader without too many moves. Hurry up and scatter. Run. The 3 early-stage God Emperor experts and the group of God Monarchs were so frightened that they scattered in different directions. They did not wish to die together with the leader. The expression of the Demon Heart Society master who was escaping towards the ship changed. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. Now that he, the big tree, was about to fall, his subordinates would naturally flee. They were not willing to delay for him. Hong, behind him, Dongbo Shui-Ying had already hacked down with his spear. Even though there was still some distance between them, the surrounding space suddenly compressed. It was precisely this spectacular painting technique. The master of the Demon Heart Society could only feel the space around him rapidly being compressed. It was about to erase the heights of his fleshy body and kill him directly. The master of the Demon Heart Society was doing his best to resist. But that terrifying spear, under the unique laws and profound mysteries, was able to completely suppress his strength through space. Clearly, after the chaotic origin refinement body became stronger, this technique became stronger. Pew. The master of the Demon Heart Society was squashed. Many wounds appeared on his body, causing blood to splatter everywhere. This space that was about to be compressed into a piece of paper was about to collapse. But Dongbo Shui-Ying immediately followed up with the arch destruction. Pung! Another spear smashed down furiously. The space that was originally flattened and about to collapse completely exploded under this spear strike, shattering the vault of heaven. Hong, and the master of the Demon Heart Society who was in the space could only feel everything around him shattering. His body was also being torn apart under this terrifying force. The layer of frost on the surface of his body was doing his best to resist against it. His hands were also trying their best to resist against it, yet he could not withstand it. Amidst the explosion, he gave up on the lower half of his body. Everything from his waist down was shattered. His upper body was barely able to maintain its shape. Under the protection of both his hands, this upper body flew out of the exploded space. The moment he flew out, his injuries were recovering at the fastest speed. But his life force had been depleted by close to half. This was something that could not be recovered in a short period. At the same time, the master of the Demon Heart Society could not care anymore. Under his terror, he flipped his hand and took out a strange tree branch. This was a keepsake given to him by Hidden Willow Valley Master. It was also a life-saving treasure given by Hidden Willow Valley Master to the experts under him. This life-saving treasure would be gone after he used it. With the identity of Hidden Willow Valley Master, he would disdain to give it a second time unless he contributed greatly. Hence, the master of the Demon Heart Society would rather let all his subordinates die than to use this most precious life-saving treasure. But now, he could no longer care about it. If he did not use it, he would be killed by this Feishue God Emperor. Wang. This tree branch suddenly erupted with a powerful force. It engulfed the master of the Demon Heart Society. So, he directly turned into a dark green light. With a frightening speed, he flew towards the horizon. His flying speed was a few times faster than before. It far surpassed the Void Devil Insect body technique executed by Dongbo Shui-Ying. Escaping? Even though Dongbo Shui-Ying's speed was significantly slower, he still turned into a blurred figure. He chased after the other party. One fled and the other chased. In the blink of an eye, they flew out of the high mountain city and disappeared into the distant great wilderness. The experts in the high mountain city were watching in a daze. Including Yufeng Junshan, they were slightly dazed. This transformation was too fast. The moment this master of Feishue erupted with his strength, he had heavily injured the master of the Demon Heart Society in a single move, forcing him to flee in terror. The second and third moves had shattered the body of the master of the Demon Heart Society, leaving only his upper body behind. Following that, the master of the Demon Heart Society took out a strange tree branch and used a strange technique to increase his speed before escaping. Master Feishue also chased after him out of the high mountain city into the depths of the great wilderness. The battle happened too quickly. Everyone present felt dizzy. Just thinking about what the previous scene signified made them tremble and their legs turn soft. Chapter 13:12. Even Heavens Will Pavilion. Xing Luzhu, who was experienced in recording the entire battle, felt his throat turning dry. He muttered to himself, 1 move to heavily injure the master of the Demon Heart Society, and 3 moves to shatter the body of the master of the Demon Heart Society. It seems that he is a middle-stage God Emperor Ascendant, and his strength should be comparable to a late-stage God Emperor. What did it signify to be comparable to a late-stage God Emperor? Many experts in High Mountain City understood. For instance, that city master of Easternwood City who had a noble identity was a late-stage God Emperor. Previously, Yufeng Junshan thought of ways to marry his daughter to the 9th Prince of Easternwood City. Even though he sent many gifts and sought the help of Easternwood City Masterch through some higher-ups in Easternwood City, in reality, the emissaries sent out by High Mountain City were not even qualified to meet the Easternwood City Master. Even in the entire Divine Realm, a late-stage God Emperor was an overlord of a region. Even the 3 great royal clans had to treat him with respect. A middle-stage Ascendant of God Emperor and a late-stage God Emperor Ascendant could cripple Devil Heart, an old thief who was ranked on the God Emperor ranking list, in 3 moves. Yufeng Junshan felt his heart trembling. An old thief Devil Heart was ranked in the top 1,000 in the entire Divine Realm. And he was crippled in 3 moves. One could see how frightening teacher Feishue was. What a great opportunity! My daughter Kiyoshi could actually become a disciple of such an expert. Furthermore, she has even saved my entire Maka's clan. Yufeng Junshan turned to his daughter, Nobike's Kiyoshi. The 2 brothers, Minamoto no Raiki and Imperial Winjin, could not help but turn to their little sister. The 2 of them felt envious and happy for their little sister. Late-stage God Emperor combat strength? Heaven! Such an expert actually chose to live in seclusion in our high mountain city? All the experts were horrified. This kind of strength was so strong that they could only look up to him. After all, in any place in the immortal realm, God Emperor's late-stage battle prowess would be considered a super expert. I wonder if Senior Feishue will be able to kill the leader of the Demon Heart Society if he chases after him. Many experts were looking at the direction where the leader of the Demon Heart Society and Dongbua Shui Ying had fled to. They could no longer see the silhouette of De Huang in the distance. Their speed was simply too fast. Hoo, the wind was howling. The master of the Demon Heart Society was flying at an astonishing speed under the cover of the dark green light. His body had been completely restored, but of course, this was only on the surface. It would take a long time for his life force to be replenished. With the treasures the Valley Lord bestowed upon me, my current speed is so fast that not even most late-stage God Emperors can catch up to me. I'm much faster than that Feishue God Emperor. The master of the Demon Heart Society looked behind him. At least, he could no longer see the other party with his naked eyes. But he did not dare to be slow. He continued flying at full speed. After flying for the time taken to brew a cup of tea, the dark green light on the surface of his body finally dissipated. The master of the Demon Heart Society looked at the tree branch in his hand. At this moment, the tree branch had already disintegrated into powder. This treasure had been completely consumed. After such a long time, I should have left him far behind. The master of the Demon Heart Society had this thought in his heart. But he continued flying at full speed. He did not even bring out his battleship or other treasures. Even though the battleship and other treasures did not require him to control them, their flying speed could not compare to his current speed. Within the great wilderness, Dongbo Shui-ing had long controlled his fleshy body, altering the particle structure of his fleshy body. He had regained the stable state of his chaotic origin refinement body. He was currently sitting cross-legged on a piece of rock in the great wilderness. He was currently drinking wine from a flask of wine. Since the other party had escaped so quickly, he would not be foolish enough to chase after him. How tiring would that be? And then his speed has become slower. It seems the energy of the treasure has been consumed. Dongbo Shui-ing could sense the approximate location of the master of the Demon Heart Society through his tracing technique. After all, the karma between the two was not small. Wait a while more. Even with my Void Devil Insect Body technique, it will still take a while before I can catch up to him. Dongbo Shui-ing estimated that it was about time. He continued drinking wine. It is about time. Time to set off. Dongbo Shui-ing flipped his hand and kept the flask of wine. His arms began turning thick. Layers of black membrane appeared on the surface of his arms. His aura once again became violent and unstable. Extending his right hand, a black spear appeared in his hand. See, a black crack appeared by the side. Dongbo Shui-ing flashed and entered it. Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique. Although the master of the Demon Heart Society was fleeing with all his might, the distance between them was not that far. After all, he was merely flying. Using the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique to chase after him was simply overkill. Dongbo Shui-ing could not be bothered to use the Void Devil Insect Body technique to chase after him. See, emerging from the black crack, Dongbo Shui-ing sensed the location of the master of the Demon Heart Society. Only then did he execute the Void Devil Insect Body technique. His figure turned blurry as he rapidly chased after him. In just 10 breaths of time, the escaping master of the Demon Heart Society saw a tiny figure chasing after him. It was the spear-wielding Feishui God Emperor. He has caught up? The master of the Demon Heart Society was extremely furious. I have already left him behind so far. Yet, he still refuses to let me go and is still chasing after me? There was no helping it. Dongbo Shui-ing had already reached the final realm in the Tao of Void. He had also reached an unprecedented realm in the Tao of Soul. His soul had even fused with a droplet of myriad tentacles Dragon Mother core blood. When he was still a level 2 cosmos god, Emperor Summer could not even track him down, much less now. In this world, only the 3 chaotic origin experts who created this world could track down Dongbo Shui-ing. So, even though the master of the Demon Heart Society was fleeing with all his might, the figure of Dongbo Shui-ing was getting closer and closer. That blurred figure was also getting bigger and bigger in his vision. You can't escape, Dongbo Shui-ing said. Feishui God Emperor, I have no grievances with you. You have also killed 2 of my subordinates, the God Emperors. How about we just end things here? I can swear an oath that I will never come to High Mountain City ever again. I will never take revenge on the Makaz clan ever again. As the master of the Demon Heart Society was escaping, he was anxiously begging for mercy. No grievances with you? Dongbo Shui-ing shook his head. Why do I remember you saying something like I, Demon Heart, will remember this enmity back in High Mountain City? The master of the Demon Heart Society felt bitter in his heart. That was then and this was now. Feishui God Emperor, please spare my life. I'll agree to whatever you say. The master of the Demon Heart Society anxiously begged for mercy. Because Dongbo Shui-ing was already close to him. What replied him was a cold spear thrust from Dongbo Shui-ing. A spear thrust out. The surrounding void wrapped around the master of the Demon Heart Society like a bubble. It rapidly collapsed into a black dot. The master of the Demon Heart Society was rapidly shrinking within this bubble. He was furious and in despair. Why was he so unlucky? Why was this Feishui God Emperor not willing to spare his life? Just a few moves later, The master of the Demon Heart Society was directly crushed into powder within the violent space, leaving behind only some items. Dongwu Shui-ing waved his hand to keep them. Dongwu Shui-ing snorted coldly. Why did he keep chasing after this master of the Demon Heart Society? Why did he not give this master of the Demon Heart Society a path of survival? Because he could sense that the karma on the master of the Demon Heart Society was heavy. Many karmic ties filled with grievances were entangling around the master of the Demon Heart Society. Facing such a great devil, Dongwu Shui-ing would naturally be ruthless. The master of the Demon Heart Society called himself Devil Heart. He did things without any restrictions. After becoming enemies with Yufeng Junshan, he wanted to exterminate the entire Macaw's clan. One could see his character. The Demon Heart Society has eliminated the leader, killed 2 God Emperor, and 3 escaped. That should be enough. Dongwu Shui-ing chuckled. He then began his journey back. He did not continue to chase after them. With his great world-breaching teleportation technique, he could easily hide and change his aura. His enemies would not be able to track him down. Changing his identity to chase after the 3 God Emperor was a piece of cake. However, in essence, Dongwu Shui-ing could not tolerate those great devils. He could not be bothered to get involved in the life and death battles of ordinary cultivators. The leader of the Demon Heart Society and the 5 God Emperor. The ones who were truly great devils were the master of the Demon Heart Society and the even more ferocious Ghost Flame God Emperor. In the past, when Dongwu Shui-ing killed Piercing Wind God Emperor, that Piercing Wind God Emperor was slightly sinister. He wanted to deal with the weakest Nobuke's Kiyoshi first. Only then did Dongwu Shui-ing eliminate him. After that, Dongwu Shui-ing chose to kill that Ghost Flame God Emperor precisely because he saw that the other party was shrouded in karmic resentment. It was even worse than the master of the Demon Heart Society. Naturally, Dongwu Shui-ing would not show any mercy. Those 3 who escaped belonged to the ordinary standard in the divine realm. They did not have the temperament of slaughtering wantonly. Instead, they fought and killed normally. Actually, in this divine realm, due to the vastness of the great wilderness, most people lived within the cities. Hence, there were very few massacres. Those 3 God Emperor escaped. Yet they did not know that the reason why they survived was because the karmic resentment they accumulated was not too much. High Mountain City. Finally, a blurred figure flew over rapidly from afar. A large group of experts had already gathered within the residence of the Macaw's clan. Even Xing Luzhu from the Heavens Will Pavilion, God Monarch Chuanqing from the mysterious Fire Army, and others were here. They were all looking up in anticipation. When they saw that white-robed figure appear, they felt their hearts trembling in excitement. After all, this was a terrifying late-stage God Emperor. Boo! Dongwu Shui-ing descended. Fei Xue God Emperor. Senior Fei Xue. Teacher Fei Xue. At that moment, all sorts of greetings were given. Dongwu Shui-ing swept his gaze across before nodding. Devil Heart God Emperor has been killed by me. Yufeng Junshan, Xing Luzhu, and the others who were present felt their hearts tightening. Even though they could not find the karmic connection of the master of the Demon Heart Society and guessed that the master of the Demon Heart Society might have died, when it came out from the mouth of Dongwu Shui-ing, they still felt heavy in their hearts. That was ultimately an ultra-strong expert ranked on the God Emperor list, yet he was killed just like that? Teacher. Nobuke's Kiyoshi walked closer and shouted out. Dongwu Shui-ing looked at his disciple and revealed a smile. Kiyoshi, this matter has been resolved. You don't have to worry anymore. The surrounding people looked at Nobuke's Kiyoshi with envy. They could feel that this Ascender God Emperor obviously treated his disciple Nobuke's Kiyoshi differently. Most likely, this time, he acted because of his disciple. Senior Fei Xue? Yufeng Junshan shamelessly said, this time, Senior has saved my entire Macaw's clan. My Macaw's clan is truly unable to repay you. Enough. Dongwu Shui-ing interrupted, I still have some matters to attend to when I return. I won't be accompanying you all. Kiyoshi, follow me. Yes, teacher. Nobuke's Kiyoshi obediently replied. Dongwu Shui-ing turned and left. He wasn't in the mood to chat with this group of people. This is a huge backing. Yufeng Junshan looked at Dongbo Shui-Ying and his daughter Nobike's Kiyoshi as they left. He couldn't help but feel excited. He definitely had to hold onto this thick thigh tightly. He, Yufeng Junshan, had never had the chance to come into contact with such a thick thigh before. Amongst the surrounding experts, Xing Luzhu held onto a book and continued to record. Unable to trace the karma of the master of the Demon Heart Society, Fei Xue God Emperor flew back from the great wilderness. He said that the Demon Heart God Emperor had been killed by him. This news was quickly reported upwards. Xing Luzhu was extremely excited because the God Emperor leaderboard would definitely change because of this. Chapter 1313. Within a palace hall within the residence of the Maka's clan, Yufeng Junshan, Housekeeper Tong, the three elders of the Maka's clan, and the brothers Minamoto no Reiki and Imperial Wind Jin were currently gathered here. Master, Third Lady has returned. An expert entered the palace hall and reported respectfully. The eyes of Yufeng Junshan, Minamoto no Reiki, Imperial Wind Jin, Housekeeper Tong, and the three elders brightened. Yufeng Junshan even ordered, "All right, you can withdraw." They had been waiting for a long time. When Nobike's Kiyoshi returned, they had even instructed others to let Nobike's Kiyoshi come here the moment she returned. I wonder what this senior Fei Xue is thinking. Housekeeper Tong muttered. I hope that he can continue staying in our high mountain city. Yufeng Junshan was slightly nervous too. The entire Maka's clan was celebrating after surviving through a huge calamity. It's just that Yufeng Junshan had some ambitions. If a late-stage God Emperor could stay in the high mountain city, it would be much more beneficial to their Maka's clan. Footsteps could be heard coming from outside. Nobike's Kiyoshi walked in. When she saw her father, brothers, and the elders looking over, she could not help but be startled. Kiyoshi, hurry up and come in. Have a seat first. Yufeng Junshan chuckled and ordered. Yes, father. Nobike's Kiyoshi sat down nervously. Third sister, Senior Fei Xue has helped our Maka's clan this time. With such a huge favor, does he have any orders for our Maka's clan to do? Minamoto no Reiki asked. Nobike's Kiyoshi shook her head. Nothing. Teacher did not ask our Maka's clan to do anything. Is Senior Fei Xue planning on leaving the high mountain city? Minamoto no Reiki asked again. Yufeng Junshan and the others by the side became nervous. If he saved the Maka's clan, then left, then the future days of their Maka's clan would not be much different from now. Their high mountain city would remain as one of the many remote cities in the vast divine realm, remaining unremarkable. According to their speculations, the possibility of the Fei Xue God Emperor leaving was very high. Firstly, experts of this level usually had their own pursuits, such as treasures and resources. They rarely stayed in small cities. Secondly, the Fei Xue God Emperor had always lived in seclusion. He should not be fond of disputes. This time, he had killed the master of the Demon Heart Society, and his name would definitely spread across the divine realm. By then, there would likely be some disputes. And if he left the high mountain city and went to another city to live in seclusion, it would be hard for others to find him. At the very least, the Maka's clan had tried, yet they could not trace down this Fei Xue God Emperor at all. Furthermore, according to the intelligence, it was practically impossible to trace down an ascendant God Emperor. Nothing. Nobike's Kiyoshi looked at her father and the others in bewilderment. She shook her head. Teacher did not mention anything about leaving. Yufeng Junshan and the others heaved a sigh of relief at that moment. Teacher only said that he does not like to be disturbed. He asked me to tell father and you not to disturb him if there isn't anything important. Nobike's Kiyoshi added another sentence. It's something we should do. Yufeng Junshan revealed a grin. How important is the cultivation of Senior Fei Xue? With his identity, how could anyone be qualified to meet him? All of you should listen clearly. If there isn't anything important, do not disturb him. Minamoto no Reiki and the others acknowledged. The grin on Yufeng Junshan's face became even more brilliant. Disliking disturbances? As long as Senior Feishueng resided in their high mountain city, the surrounding organizations would have to treat their Macaw's clan with respect. It would also be much easier for their Macaw's clan to conduct transactions with the surrounding cities. This Senior Feishue does not like to be disturbed, but there will always be some mundane matters he needs to attend to. He does not have many subordinates, and by then, it would be most suitable for my Macaw's clan to help him settle these mundane matters. Yufeng Junshan felt more satisfied. Kiyoshi, Yufeng Junshan asked, Senior Feishue does not allow others to disturb him. As a disciple, you should be able to meet your teacher, right? I can meet teacher anytime. Nobike's Kiyoshi answered. All right. Yufeng Junshan chuckled. Kiyoshi, your teacher, Senior Feishue, has done a great favor for my Macaw's clan. This favor must be engraved in our hearts. Do you understand? Nobike's Kiyoshi nodded. The Macaw's clan clearly wanted him to board this warship, Feishue God Emperor. And on this night, Easternwood City also received the news. Easternwood City Master sat alone at the peak of a mountain within the city. He was constantly fusing with this world. He was wearing a green robe, and his aura was vast and distant like the world. He opened his eyes and revealed a look of astonishment. A middle-stage ascendant God Emperor actually appeared in a small city like the High Mountain City. His strength is comparable to that of a late-stage God Emperor? Feishue God Emperor? Easternwood City Master frowned slightly. Talking about this, the Easternwood City was the strongest superpower within a huge region. Small cities like the High Mountain City had to look up to the Easternwood City. And now, there was actually an expert who could fight against a late-stage God Emperor in this region. One had to know that he, Easternwood City Master, was merely a late-stage God Emperor. He could heavily injure the Devil Heart God Emperor with a single move and shatter his body into pieces with 3 moves. This strength is indeed comparable to a late-stage God Emperor. Fortunately, it seems he does not like disputes. Previously, he has been living in seclusion within the High Mountain City and has never publicized his strength. Easternwood City Master nodded slightly. I have to send an emissary team to pay a visit to this Feishue God Emperor. No matter what, he had to convey his goodwill. The personality of Easternwood City Master was one who did not like to fight. It's just that cultivating the ancestral god bloodline required him to have many resources and treasures. In addition, there were many disciples from the Easternwood clan who had attached themselves to him. Hence, Easternwood City Master had to fight for various resources. They were well informed. Within a day or two after the fall of the Master of the Demon Heart Society, they received the news. They also understood that there was another overlord in this divine realm. Fortunately, they were in the same region as Easternwood City Master. Hence, the influence they had on other experts in the divine realm was negligible. High Mountain City, Feishue Residence. High above the pavilion, Dongbo Shui-Ying sat cross-legged by himself. He continued pondering over the chaotic origin refinement body. Even though he had created several versions that could barely allow his body to reach the middle stage strength of God Emperor, they were not stable. Either his arms were strong, or his legs were strong, or his abdomen and back. It was impossible for his entire body to be stable. Who would have thought that I have to publicize my strength because of my disciple? So be it then. That's fine too. If more trouble comes, I might be able to temper myself. Dongbo Shui-Ying was filled with confidence. Actually, even if he publicized his strength, not many would come and find trouble for him at his level. When the God Emperor list changes, my name will spread even wider. If Great Emperor North River is in this world, he should know about it. Dongbo Shui-Ying smiled in anticipation. Great Emperor North River should have been teleported to this world. There was some enmity between him and North River. I wonder how North River will react. Dongbo Shui-Ying remained indifferent. His calmness originated from his strength. Currently, even though his chaotic origin refinement body was not stable, he could maintain the strength of late-stage God Emperor for an hour just by relying on his Tao of Void. This strength was equivalent to a great emperor in the Broken Tooth Mountain range. And the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm would influence even Grand Perfection God Emperor. Grand Perfection God Emperor was equivalent to a supreme in the Broken Tooth Mountain range. He did not use his Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm when dealing with the Master of the Demon Heart Society. If he used his full strength, with his Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm coupled with his late-stage God Emperor strength in the Tao of Void, he could even fight against Supremes. Even if he was at a slight disadvantage, it was not a problem for him to survive. Furthermore, he still had the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique if he encountered other troubles in the Divine Realm. That was why Dongwu Ying could continue living peacefully in the High Mountain City after killing the Master of the Demon Heart Society. Master, a protector came before the pavilion. He respectfully announced, Xing Luzhu from the Heavens Will Pavilion is here to visit. Let him in. Dongwu Ying ordered. The protector immediately left. Very soon, Xing Luzhu ascended the pavilion. When he saw the white-robed young man seated cross-legged there, he immediately bowed respectfully. God Emperor, the newest God Emperor ranking list is out. Saying that, a scroll appeared in his hand. Dongwu Ying chuckled. He waved his hand, causing that scroll to fly over to him. Such a small matter like sending a scroll over, you can just order your subordinates to send it over. You are a pavilion master yet you are here personally? God Emperor, don't tease me. I am merely the pavilion master of the Heavens Will Pavilion residing in the High Mountain City. It is my honor to send a scroll over to God Emperor. Xing Luzhu added. Dongwu Ying chuckled as he unfurled the scroll. He began looking at the updated God Emperor ranking list that was created because of him. Every time the God Emperor ranking list changed, a new God Emperor ranking list would be created. Kevin. Today there was only one update. Chapter 13-14. The God Emperor ranking list recorded on the scroll was detailed. With his consciousness, he could sense the simple information of every expert listed on the list. If he wanted more detailed information, he would have to pay a higher price to purchase it. Oh, 268th? Dongwu Ying nodded slightly. This ranking was still fair. In this world, there were more than 30 Grand Perfection God Emperors, Supremes, and late-stage Ascendant God Emperors. For instance, Hidden Willow Valley Master and others were at this level. There were more than 250 late-stage God Emperor Ascendants, of which there were more than 30 middle-stage God Emperor Ascendants. He was ranked 268th. There were still some late-stage God Emperor Ascendants and middle-stage God Emperor Ascendants behind him. Most likely, when I unleashed my strength, my aura became unstable, affecting my ranking. And I personally killed the Master of the Demon Heart Society, proving my combat power. That was why I was ranked 268th, Dongwu Ying pondered. He then turned to Xing Luzhu from Heavens Will Pavilion and chuckled. Xing Luzhu, Heavens Will Pavilion still regards me highly. They did not rank me as the last among the late-stage God Emperor and middle-stage God Emperor Ascendants. This is decided by the higher-ups. I am not qualified to influence it at all. Xing Luzhu answered. Ha! Dongwu Ying chuckled. I don't mind. I even feel that this ranking is not bad. Xing Luzhu chuckled. All right, if there's nothing else, you can withdraw. Dongwu Ying said. Yes, then I'll take my leave. Xing Luzhu respectfully withdrew. He had no choice. He, Xing Luzhu, was just a peak god monarch. And this Feishui God Emperor was absolutely an overlord in the entire divine realm. Xing Luzhu naturally had to be respectful and do everything beautifully. After all, he was stationed in High Mountain City's Heavens Will Pavilion, and the one he could not offend the least was this Feishui God Emperor. Dongwu Ying looked at the scroll before him. He muttered softly, 268th, the chaotic origin refinement body is currently unstable. Just based on his strength in the Tao of Void, this ranking is quite high. As he muttered to himself, he smiled and put away the scroll. To him, this was just fun. The ranking wasn't that important. The most important thing was to improve his own strength. He came to this world to sharpen himself. The God Emperor list came out. This caused many experts in this world to pay attention to this ascender who was ranked 268th, God Emperor. After all, for Dongwu Shuang to kill the master of the Demon Heart Society, unless they were especially interested in the news of the death of a deity world expert, they wouldn't let the Heavens Will Pavilion collect such information for a long period of time. As for the God Emperor leaderboard, many people paid attention to it. The God Emperor, as well as the countless God Sovereigns of the God world, were all paying attention to it. In a small desolate city, a green-robed male who was currently drinking wine in a tavern suddenly had a slight change in expression. He had just received the information sent to him by the Heavens Will Pavilion. God Emperor leaderboard? The green-robed male muttered to himself, Feishue God Emperor? Descendant? He immediately transmitted a message to the Heavens Will Pavilion. He wanted to purchase detailed information regarding Feishue God Emperor. After a moment, God Monarch, an attendant from the Heavens Will Pavilion in this small desolate city came specially to this tavern. He passed a scroll to the green-robed male. This information requires 3 lightning stones. The green-robed male threw out 3 lightning stones. The attendant received the lightning stones before leaving. The green-robed male immediately read through the scroll carefully. This report recorded the series of information regarding Feishue God Emperor in detail. For instance, he was brought back from the Great Wilderness by the third lady of the Makaze clan in High Mountain City, Nobike's Kiyoshi. Many events were recorded clearly. Look at the time. Before the third lady of the Makaze clan brought him back from the Great Wilderness, the Heavens Will Pavilion could not find any records regarding him. The green-robed male sneered. It was normal for a god monarch to not have any records regarding him. Yingshan Snow Eagle, you came to this world too? The eyes of the green-robed male were filled with coldness. He was none other than Great Emperor North River. He came here much earlier than Dongwu Shuang. He could not track down Dongwu Shuang, and similarly, Dongwu Shuang could not track down him. Just like in the past when Great Emperor North River snatched away that thousand-eyed water droplet, Dongwu Shuang and the others could not pinpoint the precise location of Great Emperor North River even though they wanted to kill him. Those who cultivated in chaotic origin bloodlines might not specialize in concealing their aura, but it was entirely different once they reached the level of late-stage God Emperor. The majority of them were formidable in tracking down others. Even those at the Supreme Realm could perfectly conceal their aura. Dongwu Shuang had seen Supremes in the Broken Tooth Mountain range before. Even if Supremes concealed their aura, Dongwu Shuang could not detect them. And Great Emperor North River was the Great Emperor closest to the Supreme level in the Broken Tooth Mountain range. His control over his aura was perfect too. It was impossible to track him down. Coming to this world as a guest from another world, he naturally had to remain low profile. Concealing his aura, disguising himself as a god monarch and living in seclusion in a small city. He would occasionally go out for missions. Yingshan Snow Eagle. Many thoughts flashed through the heart of Great Emperor North River. From the time he arrived, his name, the techniques he specialized in, and his identity as an ascendant, in addition to the fact that he was similarly living in seclusion, Yingshan Snow Eagle fit all the criteria. How could there be such a coincidence? According to the intelligence reports, he could fight against late-stage God Emperor in the Tao of Void? Great Emperor North River frowned. If I include his soul technique, I should be at a disadvantage when facing him? It is more important for me to improve my strength. I'll wait until I reach the supreme level before playing with this Yingshan Snow Eagle. Great Emperor North River sneered inwardly. He originally had a deep foundation, and after cultivating for a long period in the Snake Tooth Corridor, he had improved further. That time, he was discovered by Dongwu Shuang and Supreme Vast Ancient. He was forced to choose this path and was sent to this world. Only after coming here did he discover that this world was much more formidable in digging out bloodline energy as compared to the Broken Tooth Mountain range. By collecting books, he could learn from them and comprehend them. Great Emperor North River was even more confident of reaching the supreme level. Let's wait and see. Great Emperor North River casually placed this matter to the side. Time passed. After Dongbu Shui-ing killed the master of the Demon Heart Society, his name spread across the divine realm. At least in the surrounding regions, many emissaries came to visit him. Even the Eastern Wood City sent over an emissary team. Dongbu Shui-ing was too lazy to meet most emissaries. Hence, he asked Nobike's Kiyoshi to deal with them on his behalf. Only the emissary team from the Eastern Wood City did Shui-ing meet them personally. After that, his days regained its peace. Because he killed quite a few God Emperor, Dongbu Shui-ing had many treasures. Most of them disdained him. Hence, he chose those that were beneficial to bloodline cultivation and gave them to his disciple Nobike's Kiyoshi. She was also the only disciple he accepted in this world. Nobike's Kiyoshi was originally a peak stage god general. After receiving the treasures, she rapidly reached the god monarch realm. In reality, any random god general like Dongbu Shui-ing could easily break through after spending so many treasures that even god emperor felt heartache. Nobike's Kiyoshi breaking through was not considered much. Instead, it was her big brother Minamoto no Raiki who was an expert second only to Yufeng Junshan in High Mountain City. Minamoto no Raiki was even slightly stronger than Bat Mountain Master and God Monarch Jian Yin. After experiencing this huge calamity, from despair to hope, Minamoto no Raiki actually broke through to the early stage God Emperor 300,000 years after the fall of the Demon Heart Society Master. This brought joy to the entire Mikaze clan. Nobike's Kiyoshi was excited for a period. Dongbu Shui-ing also sent some congratulatory gifts over to congratulate Minamoto no Raiki. In the blink of an eye, it had been more than 80 million years since the fall of the Demon Heart Society Master. High Mountain City, Feishue's residence. There were currently some musicians playing music within the residence. There were also many female dancers dancing. Dongbu Shui-ing, Nobike's Kiyoshi, and the #1 zither master of High Mountain City, Leng Xian, were seated there chatting and watching. Ever since he heard Leng Xian playing the zither in the past, Dongbu Shui-ing had gained this hobby. He loved listening to music and watching dances. Teacher, this is a dance piece personally composed by Sister Leng. How is it? Nobike's Kiyoshi said. Teacher? Teacher? Nobike's Kiyoshi looked at Dongbu Shui-ing with a puzzled look. Dongbu Shui-ing currently closed his eyes as if he was thinking about something. Nobike's Kiyoshi dared not speak after seeing that. Hong Long Long, at this moment, Dongbu Shui-ing in his hometown Primal Chaos Void and all avatars in Realm Heart Great Land were rumbling with consciousness. Many profound mysteries were fusing together to form an unfathomably profound and perfect technique. Chapter 1315. At the moment when this perfect technique was formed, an illusory realm naturally appeared in the heart of Dongbu Shui-ing. It was vast and filled with endless life force. Yet killing intent was hidden within. Life force and killing intent were like two sides of the same coin. They entangled with each other, causing the entire world to be more interesting. It was just like where there was life, there would be death. Where there was light, there would be darkness. This entanglement was like a surging current that penetrated through the entire illusory realm. Simply speaking, the core of the operating laws of this illusory realm were these two sides of the same coin. Using these two sides of the same coin as the core, Shui-ing fused other comprehensions of the Tao of Mirage and illusory realm into it. Everything was going according to nature. Hong Long Long, the souls of every avatar of Shui-ing were rumbling as they underwent a transformation. Their souls were becoming clearer and more ethereal. They were able to deduce the same technique at a faster speed and more accurately at the essence. Not only that, their souls were becoming more condensed. They were even vaguely moving towards a qualitative transformation. My soul, so powerful. It seems stronger than my fleshy body. Dongbu Shui-ing felt an illusory feeling of power. It felt as if his soul had become so strong that it could fuse with the origin source of this world. As long as this world existed, his soul would not be extinguished. Of course, this was just a vague feeling. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Suddenly, within the residence of Fei Xue in High Mountain City, Dongbo Shueing, who originally closed his eyes, abruptly opened them. His eyes became incredibly deep. Lung Exen Zither Master and Nobike's Kiyoshi were originally nervous when Dongbo Shueing suddenly closed his eyes and ignored them. But when they saw Dongbo Shueing opening his eyes, the two of them could not help but immerse themselves in it. It felt as if this was the most enchanting pair of eyes in the world, and they were willing to immerse themselves in it. My fleshy body. Dongbo Shueing felt his entire body cheering. His soul was actually nourishing his fleshy body unknowingly, allowing his fleshy body to develop towards perfection. The transformation of his fleshy body was a minor matter. Dongbo Shueing was more concerned about his soul. My soul, this feeling. Dongbo Shueing's soul could sense the powerful essence of the immortal world. The essence of this world was coarser than that of the source world, but the quantity was much greater. The soul was the most unique energy of a living being. For instance, there were blood sacrifices in the realm Heart Great Land that could refine essence of blood spirit from within. Some of the more powerful souls could refine the essence of blood spirit, and absorbing it was more effective than absorbing the origin source. Clearly, the soul was a similar power to the world origin, just that it was more unique. I feel like I'm just a step away from fusing with the world's origin. Once integrated, as long as the world's origin was not destroyed, his soul would not be destroyed. How terrifying was that? Even a chaotic origin expert could control an origin world. It was impossible for him to destroy the world's origin source, because destroying the world's origin source would truly perish. The Tao of Soul can actually reach such a level after reaching the ultimate realm? Dongbo Shueing thought to himself. He had just comprehended the third Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm killing technique. This third killing technique was a perfect fusion of the previous first killing technique, Resplendent Illusory World, and the second killing technique, Killing Intent of the Illusory World. Its power had greatly surpassed the previous killing technique. This qualitative transformation had even given Dongbo Shueing a feeling that he was incomparably close to the soul final realm. And now that he had created this technique, he was just a strand away from reaching the final realm. If I reach the final realm in the Tao of Soul, it seems it is far beyond what ordinary Tao paths can compare with. Dongbo Shueing thought. That's right too. The foundation of life was the soul. The difficulty of cultivating the Tao of Soul was far beyond other Tao paths. Amen? Dongbo Shueing looked around him. Within this palace hall, Nobike's Kiyoshi, Zither Master Ling Exen, and the dancers and musicians who were performing had all collapsed. It seems I have unknowingly affected them when I broke through. With a thought, Dongbo Shueing sent a ripple across the entire palace hall. Everyone in the palace hall woke up. They were even slightly at a loss. Nobike's Kiyoshi looked at Dongbo Shueing. She was still in a daze. Teacher, why did I fall asleep? I have unknowingly affected you all. Oh right, I am preparing to enter closed-door cultivation for a period. If there isn't anything important, do not disturb me. Dongbo Shueing instructed. Yes, teacher. Nobike's Kiyoshi acknowledged. And Dongbo Shueing nodded and stood up. He nodded slightly to Zither Master Ling Exen by the side before leaving the place to enter closed-door cultivation. Within the cultivation room, Dongbo Shueing was thoroughly feeling the changes brought about by this breakthrough. Firstly, his chaotic origin refinement body. Originally, his middle-stage God Emperor body was not stable and could only last for an hour. But now, the influence of his soul on his fleshy body had made it more perfect. It was stronger by approximately 50%. Furthermore, even though it was still unstable, the consumption on his body had been greatly reduced. His body's recovery ability was sufficient for him to resist against it. In other words, he could fight continuously. The influence of my soul on my fleshy body is merely perfecting the foundation of my fleshy body. It can merely improve it by a few times. As for my chaotic origin refinement body, it is a qualitative transformation. Dongbo Shueing understood that the help his soul could provide to his fleshy body was merely icing on the cake. If he wanted to cultivate his fleshy body to the half-chaotic origin life-form body, or even become a chaotic origin expert, he still had to improve his Tao of Void. Just a little more. This third Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm killing technique is just a little bit away from reaching the final realm. Dongwu Shui-Ying shook his head. Because the first two killing techniques were already very powerful. The third killing technique had been greatly improved. From a certain perspective, it was not much different from a final realm technique. But it had yet to reach the final realm. He had yet to reach it. Final realm represented grand perfection. Like when he was at the level 2 Cosmos God realm in the Tao of Void, by relying on a supreme secret impartation, he could exert strength comparable to ordinary final realm experts. Even if the technique was strong, it did not represent his realm. This third killing technique had absorbed the profound mysteries from the gray eyes and golden eyes of that thousand-eyed existence and successfully fused them together. This technique was indeed strong. But it was still incomplete in terms of realm. And these incomplete parts, it prevented his soul from reaching grand perfection. I have been pursuing too much in destroying the soul of my enemies. Dongwu Shui-Ying thought. Because this third killing technique sought to fuse the first two killing techniques together. Hence, when he first created it, he had used the first two techniques as a single entity to create it. This move of mine is slightly too extreme. Dongwu Shui-Ying knew where the problem lay. Next, the fourth killing technique will make up for these flaws. Dongwu Shui-Ying thought, when I create the fourth killing technique, it should be the moment when my Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm reaches the final realm. I am truly looking forward to it. After breaking through, he would reflect and consolidate his strength. This did not take too long. The reason why Dongwu Shui-Ying chose to enter closed-door cultivation was because it was time for him to leave the high mountain city after grasping the third Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm killing technique. Boo! Dongwu Shui-Ying sat cross-legged. Waving his hand, a scroll appeared before him. The scroll recorded detailed information regarding the Tao of Void chaotic origin lifeforms. Dongwu Shui-Ying had been collecting information regarding the Tao of Void ascendant scriptures through the Heavenswell Pavilion in High Mountain City. Another reason was to collect information regarding Void lineage chaotic origin lifeforms. In reality, he had already obtained some useful information. It's just that he did not feel that it was time to act. There is a corpse of a Void lineage chaotic origin lifeform in Iron Dragon City. Dongwu Shui-Ying read through the information. Chaotic origin lifeforms had laws manifested all over their bodies. For instance, some chaotic origin lifeforms might only have some Tao of Void laws manifested on very few parts of their bodies. That was of limited help to Dongwu Shui-Ying. And Void lineage represented that a chaotic origin lifeform specialized in Void lineage techniques. The majority of laws manifested on their bodies were of the Void lineage. This was also what Dongwu Shui-Ying was pursuing. It's just that innate Void lineage chaotic origin lifeforms were very rare. Iron Dragon City Master is ranked 7th on the God Emperor list. Dongwu Shui-Ying thought. There were more than 30 Supremes in this world. Iron Dragon City Master was ranked 7th. He had 5 children. All of them had been nurtured to the God Emperor level. Naturally, only the Crown Prince was a late-stage God Emperor. The strength of Iron Dragon City Master was even stronger than that hidden Willow Valley Master. If I could get this Void lineage chaotic origin lifeform corpse collected by Iron Dragon City Master, it would be of great help to me. Dongwu Shui-Ying thought. The deterrence of Iron Dragon City Master was too great. He had never thought of snatching it by force. Even so, he was waiting for the third Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm killing technique to be created before he decided to act. Chapter 1316. Dongwu Shui-Ying stood up and stood in the quiet room. Suddenly, his figure changed, his appearance changed, and even his aura changed, becoming as cold as a 10,000-year-old glacier. Changing one's aura was a small matter. At Dongwu Shui-Ying's level, changing one's soul aura was very simple. However, it wasn't easy for him to resist some prying techniques. Some of the experts in this world had special abilities because of their bloodlines. Some divine abilities could allow one to see the strength of others. Like that housekeeper Yun's jade light god eyes, the ancestral god bloodline originated from the three chaotic origin experts who created this world. Naturally, it contained all sorts of mystical aspects. For instance, if an expert at the level of God Emperor specialized in spying, his techniques would be much more formidable than that housekeeper Yun. Before this, Dongwu Shuiying did not have the confidence to fend off the spies. But now, with my attainments in the Tao of Soul, I doubt anyone below the chaotic origin level could see through my strength. Dongwu Shuiying thought to himself. This time, after comprehending the third move of the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm, his soul spirit had undergone another transformation and was already at the threshold of qualitative change. As long as he made a slight breakthrough, he would be able to complete the qualitative change. At that time, his soul would be able to fuse with the origin of a world. As long as the world was not destroyed, he would not die. Now that his soul aura had changed, Dongwu Shuiying believed that no one would be able to see through his soul aura. "Give me another sword." Dongwu Shuiying raised his hand, and a sheathed divine sword appeared in his hand. With a smile, he waved his hand, and the divine sword was strapped to his back. He was dressed in white and carried a divine sword on his back. Buzz. At the same time, Dongwu Shuiying's aura started to grow stronger, reaching the level of God Emperor late phase. His aura was filled with sharpness. Of course, this was all due to the uniqueness of his soul, which allowed him to easily disguise himself. If he wanted to, he could totally disguise himself as a perfect God Emperor, but there was no need for that. Rip. A black spatial rift suddenly appeared in the quiet room. Dongwu Shuiying took a step forward and disappeared into the Tailong city. Tailong Qing. This was an incomparably flourishing city. Iron Dragon City Master was ranked 7th amongst the 30 over God Emperor Paragon level experts. Naturally, his strength was extremely terrifying. One had to know that the innate chaotic origin life form Hidden Willow Valley Master, who could unleash the strength of God Emperor to grand perfection, was only ranked 12th. Iron Dragon Hall. Shuiying turned into a stream of light as he flew through the sky. He descended down and landed before a towering residence. This residence occupied a huge area. It was even bigger than the entire high mountain city by a whole circle, more than 500,000 kilometers in area. Ho! Occasionally, roars could be heard from within the mansion. Dongwu Shuiying was able to guess that this roar should be from the innate chaotic origin life form, the nine-horned armored dragon. In this divine realm, there were only two innate chaotic origin life forms, the nine-horned armored dragon. Both of them lived in the Armored Dragon Hall. They had a cooperative relationship with Iron Dragon City Master. They required the protection of Iron Dragon City Master. And the cultivation scripture that Iron Dragon City Master created, Undying Iron Dragon, had the help of the nine-horned armored dragon. Iron Dragon City Master's 5 children had been nurtured to the level of God Emperor by him. It was also because he had spent a huge amount of treasures. And the lineage of Iron Dragon City Master had given birth to more than 100 God Emperors. Those 2 nine-horned armored dragons had played a huge role in this. The innate chaotic origin life forms in this world are truly pitiful. There are too many experts. Even though innate chaotic origin life forms are good at survival, they would still die if they were attacked by a large number of experts. Dongwu Shuiying sighed. In the Broken Teeth Mountain Range, the use of innate chaotic origin life form corpses was very low. Hence, the 5 great supremes were too lazy to kill them. But in this world, it was clear that the usage of corpses was much higher. "This God Emperor, why have you come to my Iron Dragon Hall?" The protectors in front of the residence looked at this white-robed male who carried a divine sword on his back. They could feel a terrifying sharp aura coming from him. They could not help but feel their hearts tightening. They became slightly more polite. "This one is Qin Yun. I am here to pay a visit to Iron Dragon City Master." Dongwu Shuiying said. "My clan's city master doesn't meet guests easily." A protector frowned. Even though the aura of this white-robed male was powerful, they were not afraid of him even though they were polite. After all, the city master of their Iron Dragon City Master residence was a grand perfection God Emperor. There were a total of 8 late-stage God Emperor experts. Even though most of them had built their own cities, there were still 3 late-stage God Emperor experts within the residence. There were even more middle-stage and early-stage God Emperor experts. I do hope for you to report my arrival, Dongwu Shui-Ying said. Alright, wait here for a moment. Seeing the strength of this person, the protector helped to report his arrival. Dongwu Shui-Ying sighed inwardly. This was indeed the Iron Dragon Hall. If Shui-Ying merely maintained his middle-stage God Emperor aura, the other party would most likely be too lazy to report his arrival. After the time taken to brew a cup of tea, that protector returned. He said to Dongwu Shui-Ying, "My clan's crown prince has invited you over. Please follow me." All right. Dongwu Shui-Ying immediately entered. Crown prince? Iron Dragon City Master had 5 children. The strongest one was the crown prince, who was a late-stage God Emperor. According to the intelligence report, this crown prince of Iron Dragon Hall was usually the manager of the Iron Dragon Hall. Because of the strength of Iron Dragon City Master, he disdained all trifling matters. Instead, he focused on cultivating and breaking through to become a chaotic origin lifeform. Any grand perfection God Emperor cultivator could be called a half-chaotic origin lifeform body. They were already standing at the doorstep of becoming a chaotic origin lifeform. Those who cultivated in bloodlines would become a chaotic origin lifeform the moment they broke through and underwent an ultimate awakening. This way. The protector led the way. Do not barge in recklessly. My Iron Dragon Hall has many forbidden grounds that forbid outsiders from entering. Understood. Dongwu Shui-Ying followed behind. The hall spanned across 500,000 kilometers. This protector flew slightly slower. Only after a while did he lead Dongwu Shui-Ying into a garden. Crown Prince, I've brought Azure Cloud God Emperor here. The protector respectfully said. Dongwu Shui-Ying looked over. A black-robed male was currently leaning on a chair. He seemed very casual. By the side, there were also 2 top-notch beauties serving him. Wine and fruits were being served to him. This black-robed male was quite handsome. He swept his gaze across Dongwu Shui-Ying. His eyes were filled with tyranny. He lightly waved his hand. Retreat, Azure Cloud God Emperor. If you don't mind, please have a seat and have a few cups of wine. Who would mind having a few cups of wine in the Iron Dragon Hall? Dongwu Shui-Ying chuckled as he sat down cross-legged. This black-robed male was the eldest young master of the Iron Dragon Hall, Iron Dragon Yunshan. He was ranked 85th on the God Emperor board. For him to have such strength, he naturally had the help of his father. He even had treasures on him. But no matter what, to be ranked 85th on the God Emperor board by the Heavenheart clan, one could see how strong he was. In addition, the Iron Dragon Hall was under the command of this eldest young master. That tyrannical aura he exuded was a result of being in a high position for a long time. Azure Cloud God Emperor? Late-stage God Emperor? On the God Emperor board of the Heavenheart clan, there isn't Azure Cloud God Emperor's name. The eldest young master of the Iron Dragon Hall laughed lightly. The Iron Dragon Hall had many probing techniques. He had even arranged for a mid-stage God Emperor subordinate to use a sacred art to spy on him. He believed that this Azure Cloud God Emperor was indeed a late-stage God Emperor. In the past, I have always been cultivating in seclusion. Hence, my name isn't on the board. Dongwu Shui-Ying said. I don't care if Brother Azure Cloud is truly cultivating in seclusion or if you have a sacred art to conceal your aura. I don't care. The eldest young master of the Iron Dragon Hall laughed. What I care is why Brother Azure Cloud is here? He did not care about the identity of the other party. Given his strength and the backing of his father, in the divine realm, he did not even fear the 3 great royal clans. Even though the 3 great royal clans had the 3 chaotic origin ancestral gods behind them, strictly speaking, all civilians in the divine realm were descendants of the chaotic origin ancestral gods. Hence, as long as one did not attack the territories of the three great royal clans, even if one fought with the experts from the three great royal clans, some experts would fall, and the chaotic origin ancestral gods would never appear. But if one killed his way to the territories of the three great royal clans, that would be challenging the chaotic origin ancestral gods. I came here for a void lineage chaotic origin life form corpse. Dongbua Shui-Ying said, I want this corpse. I wonder what price I have to pay before the Iron Dragon Hall is willing to sell it to me. The eyes of the eldest young master of the Iron Dragon Hall brightened. He laughed. Since Brother Azure Cloud is here for this chaotic origin lifeform corpse, I believe you should know how rare it is to obtain a void lineage chaotic origin lifeform corpse. In the entire divine realm, there are a total of 3 void lineage chaotic origin lifeforms. 2 of them are still alive, and 1 corpse is with me. It specializes in escaping and survival. The difficulty of killing it is much harder than killing ordinary chaotic origin lifeforms. I know. Dongbua Shui-Ying nodded. This was also the reason why he came to negotiate after cultivating the 3rd Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm killing technique. Chapter 1317. The Crown Prince of Iron Dragon Hall immediately stood up when he saw that. He waved his hand to the side. The 2 female attendants immediately left obediently, leaving behind only this Crown Prince and Dongbua Shui-Ying. This corpse of a chaotic origin life form belongs to the void lineage. It is very precious. Given my father's temper, he isn't willing to sell it. But since he has no use for it, he has already given it to me. The Crown Prince grinned at Dongbua Shui-Ying. If you want it, you'll have to exchange for it with a golden lightning chaotic origin bead and a dried realm leaf. Dongbua Shui-Ying's pupils dilated. Ever since he killed the master of the Demon Heart Society, revealing part of his strength, he had bought quite a bit of intelligence from the Heaven's Will Pavilion. For instance, information on the various treasures in the divine realm. Otherwise, if he could not recognize a treasure right in front of him, wouldn't it be a tragedy if he missed it? The dried realm leaf was a rare treasure used by the commoners in the divine realm to aid in cultivation. It was also an extremely rare item used to cultivate bloodline energy. In the history of the Heaven's Will Pavilion, there had been 3 auctions for the dried realm leaf. During these 3 auctions, the lowest price was 3,900 chaotic origin crystal jades. The highest price was 5,800 chaotic origin crystal jades. Of course, there were more than just these 3 pieces in the divine realm. There were quite a few that were owned by Grand Perfection God Emperor and given to their disciples and subordinates. No matter what, the value of this dried realm leaf was approximately 5,000 chaotic origin crystal jades. This price was extremely exaggerated. One had to know that during the previous auction that Dongbua Shui-Ying participated in, the final price of a chaotic origin lifeform corpse was only 20,000 chaotic origin crystal jades. It was fine if it was a dried realm leaf, but it was far inferior to the golden lightning chaotic origin bead. The golden lightning chaotic origin bead was incredibly precious and had never appeared in an auction before. According to Dongbua Shui-Ying's understanding, there were only 3 golden lightning chaotic origin beads discovered in the history of the divine realm. Any one of them was worth more than most chaotic origin lifeform corpses. Even though the corpse of a void lineage chaotic origin life form was similarly rare, in terms of preciousness, most experts in the divine realm would not even compare to the golden lightning chaotic origin bead. After all, corpses were not as useful as the golden lightning chaotic origin bead. Golden lightning chaotic origin bead? Eldest young master, aren't you asking for too much? Dongbua Shui-Ying asked. Ha Gao. The Crown Prince of Iron Dragon Hall sneered. Not at all. Of the 3 void lineage chaotic origin life forms, 1 corpse is with me. 1 is under the protection of one of the 3 great royal clans, that's Extreme Star Clan. The last one might be wandering in the divine realm, but its survival capabilities are the strongest. There was once a total of 6 Grand Perfection God Emperor experts teamed up, yet they could not kill that chaotic origin lifeform. If you miss me, where are you going to find this corpse? In reality, there are quite a few who want this corpse. You are not the only one. I've already raised the same condition. Without the golden lightning chaotic origin bead, don't even think about it. Whoever brings the golden lightning chaotic origin bead over first, I'll give this chaotic origin lifeform corpse to you. In that case, there's no need for the dried realm leaves anymore, right? Dongbo Shui-ing said. My daughter's cultivation is lacking a withered realm leaf. If she could get the golden lightning chaotic origin bead, I believe it would be easier for her to get the dried realm leaf. The Crown Prince of Iron Dragon Hall looked at Dongbo Shui-ing. I've raised the condition. Brother Azure Cloud, after you get the golden lightning chaotic origin bead and a dried realm leaf, bring them over to exchange with me for the corpse of the void lineage chaotic origin lifeform. Can I have a look at that chaotic origin lifeform corpse first? Dongbo Shui-ing asked. Sure. The Crown Prince was very forthright. Flipping his hand, a storage Eden treasure appeared in his palm. I've already removed the isolation barrier. You should be able to see what's inside this storage Eden treasure. Dongbo Shui-ing looked over. A strand of consciousness rapidly permeated over. Indeed, it did not encounter any obstruction as it permeated into the storage Eden treasure. At that moment, he saw an enormous corpse that meandered like a mountain range lying on the ground. Even though it had fallen, its corpse was still emitting a strange fluctuation. Dongbo Shui-ing could see the laws and profound mysteries manifested on every part of its body. The many green scales on its body, its tail, the many horns on its back, and the patterns on those horns. Dongbo Shui-ing could see the inscriptions on them. They were incredibly profound. Dongbo Shui-ing swept through them. Just the surface of this chaotic origin lifeform corpse, the scales, the horns, the claws, nearly 90% of them manifested laws and profound mysteries related to the Tao of Void. They were similarly profound and contained some profound mysteries at the chaotic origin level. Different parts of the corpse manifested differently. It was a different usage of the Tao of Void at the chaotic origin level. Have a look. The Crown Prince kept it with a flip of his hand. He smiled at Dongbo Shui-ing. Dongbo Shui-ing felt his heart blazing. He had to get it. He had only taken a cursory look previously. One had to know that he had to look at the structure of the inscriptions within the eyeball of a chaotic origin lifeform for a while before he could memorize them. That enormous corpse would most likely take hundreds or thousands of years to memorize just the surface. If he were to dissect the body, it would take him a very long time to memorize everything. As for the time taken to comprehend it, it was even harder to calculate. Everyone says that the teacher imitates the world. Nevertheless, reaching my current realm, the profound mysteries of the Tao of Void contained in the world might not be as profound as what I have comprehended. Dongbo Shui-ing shook his head. Like this divine realm, many laws were incomplete. They were even tyrannical and oppressive. What he was pursuing was the chaotic origin level. This was no longer something that could be contained in the world. Even though the chaotic origin 7 strikes was powerful, only the 6th and 7th strikes involved the chaotic origin level. Those were merely the most superficial applications of the technique. By relying on it, Shui-ing could only fight against some ordinary low-graded chaotic origin lifeforms. To him, a corpse of a void lineage chaotic origin lifeform was absolutely a good target for him to study. It would be of great help to him. I've said it before. This chaotic origin lifeform corpse is given to me by my father. The decision lies with me. The Crown Prince looked at Dongbo Shui-ing. If you get the treasure I want, you can come and find me. I'll try my best. Dongbo Shui-ing stood up. Then I shall not send you off. The Crown Prince chuckled. He watched as Dongbo Shui-ing left. The golden lightning chaotic origin bead was what the Crown Prince desired the most. Even with his identity, he could not get it. If I have the golden lightning chaotic origin bead, I can increase my strength by another 50%. By then, even a grand perfection god emperor would not be able to deal against me. The Crown Prince thought. He was originally very strong. He was ranked in the front even amongst late-stage god emperor. He was similar to Great Emperor North River during the Broken Teeth Mountain Range period. There were too few treasures that could greatly increase his strength. The Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Bead was the one that could improve his strength the most. After leaving the Iron Dragon Hall, Ying stealthily entered an alley within the Iron Dragon City. He executed the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique and left stealthily. First, he went to another small desolate city. He changed his aura, disguising himself as a peak stage god monarch expert before purchasing detailed information regarding the Dried Realm Leaf and the Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Bead. Previously, even though he had obtained information on the various treasures in the Divine Realm, that was just an overview. The more detailed the information was, the higher the price would be. So expensive. Ying sighed inwardly. The detailed information on the Dried Realm Leaf and the Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Bead cost him a total of 8,000 lightning rocks. There are quite a few owners of the Dried Realm Leaf. Ying glanced over. The information provided by the Heaven's Will Pavilion was formidable. They introduced a total of 15 owners. A total of 3 Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Beads. Ying also saw where these 3 Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Beads were located. For them to be able to protect a treasure like the Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Bead, they naturally had an extraordinary background. I'm going to start a massacre. Ying thought. Let's see who has the greatest sin. He did not choose the easiest to deal with. Instead, he chose those with the greatest sin. For instance, that Crown Prince of Iron Dragon Hall. If he were a great devil with heinous sins, Ying would have chosen to assassinate him and snatch his treasures. But the Crown Prince of Iron Dragon Hall was at most an ordinary battle between experts. He did not have any karma or resentment. Hence, Ying was not willing to forcefully snatch his treasures. And that was the residence of Iron Dragon City Master. Iron Dragon City Master himself was frightening enough. Within his residence, there were many arrays supporting it. Iron Dragon City Master would most likely be stronger by an entire level. He was not someone to be trifled with. And starting a massacre was part of his plan. Because he did not have many treasures. Even though he had killed the master of the Demon Heart Society and some other god emperor, those treasures were far too lacking compared to the Golden Lightning Chaotic Origin Beads and the corpse of a Void Lineage Chaotic Origin life form. He still had to rely on killing others to accumulate treasures. And he was not willing to kill some ordinary experts either. If he wanted to start a massacre, he would naturally find those great devils. Chapter 13-18. Ying looked at the information recorded on the scroll. Heaven's Will Pavilion had found out that there were a total of 15 people who possessed the Dried Realm Leaf. According to the records of Heaven's Will Pavilion, the one with the greatest sin was called Crane Cave God Emperor. God Emperor Crane Pit was a middle-stage God Emperor expert. He was also the beloved disciple of the Grand Perfection God Emperor Palace Master Ghost Sea. Palace Master Ghost Sea could be considered an ultra-huge devil, and God Emperor Crane Pit was one of his 3 disciples. His personality was similarly evil and he had slaughtered countless people. Nevertheless, he had a powerful teacher. God Emperor Crane Pit was considered not bad among middle-stage God Emperors, and was ranked at the bottom of the God Emperor ranking list. Crane Cave God Emperor, according to the records of Heaven's Will Pavilion, he is truly a devil. Ying thought, let me personally go and see how much karmic resentment he has. Killing intent rose in his heart. With a thought, Ying easily found Crane Cave God Emperor from the many karmic connections he had. The men? He is actually in a remote city? Ying was shocked. It seems to be High Wind City? Following which, Ying executed the Great Destruction World teleportation technique and rushed over. High Wind City. In the vast God world, it was an unremarkable city. However, it still occupied an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. There were many citizens in the God world and various small powers. Heaven's Will Pavilion also had a branch here. It's Big Missy. Big Missy is out. On a street, there were many people. They were all looking at a few people far away. A pair of young ladies with 2 guards behind them. This pair of young ladies, one was a maid while the other was the big missy of High Wind City, High Wind Yurong. The High Wind City's city lord had 4 children, 3 sons and 1 daughter. This daughter was extremely intelligent and talented. She was currently at the peak of God Monarch. Because of the bloodline she cultivated, the higher her strength was, the more ethereal and transcendent Ling Feng Yurong's temperament became. Looking at her was like looking at the most beautiful thing in the world. Every time he came out, he would attract too much attention. The High Wind City master knew how attractive his daughter was. Hence, he had long given the order to forbid his daughter from going to other cities. To prevent any twists and turns. Young miss, that person's gaze is very impudent. I'll go teach him a lesson. The green-robed attendant saw a person standing by the window of a restaurant in the distance. She couldn't help but grit her teeth and said, "Don't be anxious." High Wind Yurong was a little surprised. Why didn't I sense anything? His heart of the ice realm should be able to sense malicious and greedy gazes. She looked around carefully and found a man with a hooked nose standing by the window on the 2nd floor of a restaurant not far to the left. He was holding a wine glass and looking at her with greed and excitement, as if he had seen a beautiful prey. This gaze made Ling Feng and Yurong feel uncomfortable. But why didn't his ice realm heart feel it? Young miss, he is too much. You can't let him off easily. The green-robed attendant was also anxious. The 2 guards by the side also noticed it and their expressions changed. "Ha, this is Big Miss Ling Feng and Yurong?" The hooked-nosed man by the window laughed. "Come up and accompany me for a drink." As he spoke, he stretched out his left hand. His left hand expanded by a few hundred meters and instantly traversed the distance between them. Ling Feng and Yurong's expression changed. She wanted to retreat with the attendant, but an invisible energy surrounded her and easily restrained her. That huge hand grabbed onto Ling Feng and Yurong's waist and instantly brought her to the top of the restaurant. "Big miss? Big miss." The 2 guards and the green-robed attendant were infuriated. At the same time, they felt fear in their hearts. Because their big miss Ling Feng was a peak stage God Monarch. She was ranked in the top 10 in the entire High Wind City. How strong was the enemy to be able to capture their big miss in a single move? God Emperor class? Hurry and report to the city master. Hurry. They were extremely anxious. The green-robed attendant couldn't help but rush into the distant restaurant. Big Miss has been captured. She was captured by someone in that restaurant. Many passers-by on the streets were shocked when they saw this. Ling Feng and Yurong were the most dazzling people in the entire High Wind City. As her strength grew, her aura became even more ethereal. Every citizen of the divine world could only look at her with admiration. No one dared to have any blasphemous thoughts towards her. But now, their big miss was actually forcefully captured. This naturally caused many people to be incomparably furious. But they also understood how terrifying the enemy must be to be able to capture their big miss so easily. Although they were furious, they were helpless. On the second floor of the restaurant, the surrounding customers were all stunned by his actions of capturing High Wind City's big Mississippi. Only 2 of them had already swiftly slipped down the stairs. The hooked-nosed man carried Ling Feng and Yurong in his embrace. He placed her on his thighs and swept his gaze across the surroundings. Boom, an invisible ripple swept out. All the customers, including the restaurant attendants, were instantly annihilated. Not even dregs were left. Ling Feng and Yurong were so frightened that their faces turned pale. She knew that the enemy was terrifying. But casually killing innocent people still caused her heart to tighten. Who exactly is he? I also have the strength of a peak stage God Monarch. Even if he is at the early stages of God Emperor, he shouldn't be able to capture me so easily. Could he be at the middle stages of God Emperor? Ling Feng and Yurong couldn't help but guess. The enemy was powerful and vicious. Ling Feng and Yurong felt incomparably anxious. But now her strength was completely sealed. She couldn't even control her communication treasure. Don't be afraid. The hooked-nosed man smiled. I killed them, but I can't bear to kill you. As long as you accompany me properly, I won't kill you before I get tired of you. As he spoke, he even sniffed Ling Feng and Yu Rong's face. Even your aura is mesmerizing. Who exactly are you? With your strength, you shouldn't be without any reputation. Ling Feng and Yu Rong couldn't help but ask. Of course I have to change my appearance. Otherwise, if I were to be recognized, wouldn't the entire High Wind City be frightened? The hooked-nosed man smiled. His hands caressed Ling Feng, and with a tearing sound, he had already torn apart a portion of Ling Feng and Yu Rong's clothes. This caused Ling Feng and Yu Rong to feel even more indignant. But with her strength sealed, she couldn't resist at all. An enraged roar followed. One after another, figures flew into the second floor of the restaurant. The one in the lead was a muscular man. He was the High Wind City Master. Behind him were many other peak stage god monarchs. These peak stage god monarchs had already linked their auras to form a battle formation. Let go of my daughter. High Wind City Master roared furiously. However, he was still cautious in his heart. Let go? The hooked-nosed man smiled. His facial features started to change. White fur appeared on his forehead and golden scales could be seen on his face. Crane Cave God Emperor? High Wind City Master's face turned pale. This Crane Cave God Emperor had massacred countless people. He was also the one who loved beauties. The reason why he massacred people was because of beauties. In the future, your daughter will be a part of my collection. Crane Cave God Emperor said calmly. As for your High Wind clan, you have two choices. First, be completely annihilated by me. Second, your High Wind City Master commits suicide and allow me to pick 100 beauties from your High Wind clan. As for the rest of your High Wind clan, I can be merciful and let them live. Crane Cave God Emperor, this is my High Wind City. Don't go overboard. High Wind City Master raged. Two choices. One was to annihilate his clan. The other was to commit suicide and choose 100 beauties. This was a humiliation to the High Wind clan. Quickly choose. I will give you 10 breaths of time. If you don't choose, I will choose for you. I will annihilate your entire High Wind clan. Crane Cave God Emperor brought a wine cup to High Wind Yu Rong's mouth. Come, let's drink together. High Wind Yu Rong shook her head. However, an invisible force was controlling her, causing her to be unable to struggle. She couldn't help but open her mouth and pour the wine in. In my hands, you won't be able to commit suicide or resist. You better listen to me obediently and make me happy. Otherwise, you will know, sometimes, death is a happy thing. Crane Cave God Emperor smiled. However, this smile caused High Wind Yu Rong's heart to turn cold. She was in despair, not only for her own fate, but also for the entire High Wind clan. 10, 9, 8. Crane Cave God Emperor said leisurely. High Wind City Master was trembling. The God Monarch experts under him were also panicking and in despair. In fact, all of them were transmitting anxiously. There were also some young men who were looking at their young miss being humiliated. They were filled with grief and indignation. 543. Crane Cave God Emperor admired the expressions of the people around him. High Wind City Master wanted to fight to the death. But regarding Crane Cave God Emperor's past battle achievements, the outcome of resisting was the annihilation of the entire clan. How can this be? Who can save me? Who can save my clan? High Wind Yu Rong was in despair. Suddenly, a figure stepped through the void and entered the second floor of the inn. The person who came was a white-robed man with a divine sword on his back. Who? All of them turned their heads over. Crane Cave God Emperor frowned as he looked over. There was actually someone who dared to enter at this moment. Was he courting death? This white-robed man's aura was ordinary to begin with. He was just at the God Monarch stage. He swept his gaze and said, Crane Cave God Emperor, you are plundering women again? So much vengeful energy and karma. This is really... As the white-robed man spoke, his aura suddenly exploded. It was so strong that it struck fear in one's heart. That aura caused Crane Cave God Emperor's expression to change. But the white-robed man just shook his head and sighed. He pointed with his finger. Crane Cave God Emperor's body trembled. The surrounding void distorted. Following which, Crane Cave God Emperor's eyes dimmed. With a put-on sound, he fell to the ground. High Wind Yurong stood up. She looked in disbelief at the lifeless corpse of Crane Cave God Emperor. Chapter 1319. Crane Cave God Emperor was dead. As a mid-stage God Emperor expert, compared to the master of Demon Heart Society, Crane Cave God Emperor was one of the 3 disciples of the Great Circle, Supreme, God Emperor Palace Master Ghost C. He was killed just like that? Was this white-robed male with a divine sword not afraid of Palace Master Ghost C's revenge? So terrifying. High Wind City Master looked at the white-robed male in shock. With a single finger, he killed Crane Cave God Emperor and even caused the surrounding void to distort. There are only a handful of God Emperor late-stage experts who can do this. Usually only the Great Circle God Emperor can do this. Killing a mid-stage God Emperor in a single move. It was indeed terrifying. 99% of God Emperor late-stage experts would not be this strong. What he did not know was that although Dongbo Shui-Ying executed the Tao of Void on the surface, in reality, he executed the Mirage and Illusory Realm killer move. Before comprehending the 3rd killer move, even the weaker God Generals of Broken Teeth Mountain Range, mid-stage God Emperor, would fall in front of him, much less the 3rd killer move, which was now several times stronger. Crane Cave God Emperor's soul was extinguished without any resistance. Thank you, Senior, for saving my daughter and my entire High Wind clan. High Wind City Master bowed respectfully and shed tears of gratitude. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. High Wind Yurong's body circulated with light and her clothes were restored. She looked at the white-robed male whose aura was as sharp as a sword. She felt both gratitude and admiration. There is no need to thank me. Dongbo Shui-Ying walked over and kept Crane Cave God Emperor's corpse. He looked at High Wind City Master and High Wind Yurong. Now that Crane Cave God Emperor is dead, with Palace Master Ghost C's character, he will not let this matter rest. I am not afraid of him, but you guys better prepare yourself. Don't let him vent his anger on you. High Wind City Master's heart tightened. But he did not panic. Because the situation now was much better than before. For example, the Crane Cave God Emperor had given him 2 choices. No matter which one it was, he, the High Wind City Lord, would have to die. This was because the Crane Cave God Emperor was very cautious. Now that a huge enmity had been formed, the early-stage God Emperor High Wind City Master must die. Because the initial stage of God Emperor, although it was difficult to break through, who knew if one day he would break through to the middle stage of God Emperor? At that time, he would have the qualifications to threaten the God Emperor of the Crane Cave, so he had to kill him. But now, the one who killed Crane Cave was this mysterious expert in front of them. Although Palace Master Ghost C was infamous, he was ultimately in existence at the Great Circle of God Emperor, honorable level. This time, their High Wind clan was also the one being bullied. As long as they temporarily left High Wind City, Palace Master Ghost C would not bother to chase after them. Hurry up and get ready. Dongbo Shui-Ying waved his hand lightly and turned to walk out. Following which, he turned into a stream of light and flew out of the 2nd floor of the inn. On the streets outside, there were already many passers-by watching this scene from afar. These natives of the deity world were naturally strong. Although they were far away and there were some buildings blocking their view, they could still see everything that happened on the 2nd floor of the inn. They also knew that the Crane Cave God Emperor had died, killed by the white-robed man. So powerful, killed in a single move. The Crane Cave God Emperor did not even have the strength to resist. This High Wind clan is really lucky to have met with such a huge problem. The High Wind City Lord was about to die, but there was actually such an expert in our High Wind City. Seeing the injustice, he killed the Crane Cave God Emperor and saved them. The Crane Cave God Emperor was one of the 3 disciples of Palace Master Ghost C. His background is really impressive. This expert actually dared to kill him. With this expert's ability to kill the Crane Cave God Emperor in a single move, he might even be a Grand Circle God Emperor. Naturally, he dared to kill him. He doesn't care about Palace Master Ghost C's face. Many of the natives of the deity world watched as they transmitted their voices to each other. At the same time, they quickly left. They could not stay in such a dangerous place for long. On the second floor of the inn, High Wind City Lord was also decisive. He swept his gaze across the surroundings and ordered, "We are also the ones who were humiliated." Although Palace Master Ghost C would not go to the extent of purposely chasing after small characters like us, it is very likely that he would vent his anger on us. So quickly, the entire High Wind clan will split into 10 teams and board large ships to enter the Great Wilderness. We will temporarily avoid this calamity. After some time, we will gradually return. Yes. All of them acknowledged the order. So, they all turned into streams of light and rapidly flew out of the second floor of the inn. The entire High Wind clan was mobilized at the fastest speed possible. They had to be careful. If they had any wishful thinking, a casual move from that Palace Master Ghost C would be enough to wipe out the entire clan. Dongwu Shui-ing changed into a black robe. His aura had also become much gentler. His early-stage god monarch aura remained in High Wind City. In an unremarkable inn by the side of the road, he ordered a few dishes and a flask of wine. He slowly drank the wine and ate the dishes by himself. Palace Master Ghost C is quite protective. He should be taking action immediately, Dongwu Shui-ing thought. The moment he killed the God Emperor in the Crane Cave, with Palace Master Ghost C's strength, he would be extremely sensitive to karma. If his disciple's karma suddenly disappeared, he would definitely come to investigate. If he flies slowly, by the time he arrives, the culprit, would already be long gone. Thus, Palace Master Ghost C should be seeking help from experts to rush here at the fastest speed possible. Although the great world-breaking teleportation technique was rare, there were still similar techniques. Only the strongest late-stage Ascendant God Emperor of the Tao of Void could execute it. However, there were many experts in the deity world. They had all sorts of strange bloodlines and talents. Those who could travel through long distances in the deity world could be counted with one's fingers. These few had high statuses. Even the weakest had the combat strength of a late-stage God Emperor. In addition, they would immediately teleport and escape whenever the situation turned bad. Naturally, not many could do anything to them. To be able to travel through long distances in the deity world, even the 3 great royal clans treated them as esteemed guests. A Grand Perfection God Emperor expert had extremely high statuses in the deity world. There were only slightly more than 30 such experts in the entire deity world. Most of them could seek help from experts who could travel through long distances. After drinking half of the wine and emptying 2 plates of dishes, Dongwu Shui-ing raised his head and looked into the distance. In the distant sky, suddenly, there was a resplendent starlight. In a passage filled with resplendent starlight, 2 figures appeared from the starlight. One was a plump male wearing a loose robe. There was even a horn on his forehead that was emitting a bizarre starlight. Beside him was a black-robed skinny old man exuding a towering baleful aura. When he swept his gaze around, the countless citizens of the High Wind City could feel a pressure on their souls even though they couldn't see the expert in the air. He is here. Dongwu Shui-ing placed down his wine cup in this wine shop. He watched silently. Palace Master Ghost C. Currently, the entire High Wind clan has fled in different directions. Those left behind in the city are all ordinary civilians. I hope you won't vent your anger on these civilians. Otherwise, even though I'm not willing to fight with the Supreme, there are times when I have no choice but to retreat. Back in the Realm Heart Great Land, when he was still relatively weak, he dared to fight against Undying Underworld Emperor. He even destroyed the sacrificial offering of Undying Underworld Emperor. It was a good thing that Dongwu Shui-ing killed Crane Cave God Emperor. But he did not wish for the civilians in the city to be implicated. The moment the other party showed signs of acting, That would be when he, Dongwu Shuiying, acted. On the second floor of the restaurant where Crane Cave God Emperor fell. Both Palace Master Ghost Si and Shuiying came here. The surrounding time flowed backwards to the point where Crane Cave God Emperor captured High Wind Yurong. Only then did the scene resume. Scenes of him killing other guests and attendants with a single glance, teasing High Wind Yurong, threatening the High Wind clan, but when a white-robed male carrying a god sword appeared in the scene, the moment the white-robed male looked over, the entire scene shattered. "It's him," Palace Master Ghost Si said with a low voice. "I can't even see what happened at that time. Such power. But white-robed? Carrying a god sword? In the entire god world, there wasn't a single one of such experts who could be ranked in the top 100. He acted stealthily and did not dare to reveal his true body. He only dared to conceal his aura and change his appearance. I doubt he is that strong. For a grand perfection expert like God Emperor, why would he act stealthily? Doing things openly was equivalent to committing evil. It was also unbridled and unbridled. Since he did not dare to act with his true identity, this white-robed male should be afraid of you, Palace Master Ghost Si. Hence, he chose to disguise himself when dealing with Crane Cave God Emperor. A plump male chuckled by the side. Since he dared to kill my disciple, I'll absolutely not let him off. The eyes of Palace Master Ghost Si were filled with coldness. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.